Martin.
Good morning.
Yeah!
Okay, I can do this. I can get my life together, I think.
Are you sure?
Nope, I'm 100% not sure. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Is there a reason I'm only hearing out of one ear? I don't know. No, maybe. Who cares? Whatever. Who needs it?
Try a different headphone jack. Nothing's in queue. Is that better?
Works.
Yeah.
So maybe I just push. There we go. I got it now. Turns out you gotta jam it in there further.
Not touching that one.
Probably for the best.
We are
everybody.
going to have some problems though, because you're doing that thing where you're talking off mic, and I'm not, and that mic.
We're trying new stuff.
That mic is almost all the way to the top
Of the volume scaling.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we'll see. I mean, listen.
Not a lot of play there.
We're trying some new stuff since the overwhelming majority of you are not in this room with us. We had Captain America Chris Evans down the hall come in here and tinker because we needed the microphones to be good on Monday because we will be joined by WWE World Champion Damian Priest and secretly, but not so secretly that I'm not saying it into the microphone. Lonzo and I are both we're both also kind of hoping like maybe we get a nice little surprise on Monday.
Yeah,
multiple guests come in.
I'm gonna have to have a discussion with engineering afterwards because we need a little more volume because I know the person coming in, Damian Priest, has a very low voice.
Very low.
Yeah, and
we'll see. We don't need to bore you with the technical aspects of it. But we got some new, we got the mics back up and working. So I'm trying something new with our stream setup today. Wanted to try a new mic, make it look better. You guys come in, tell me if you like it better, if we like it worse, if we give a damn at all by joining us on the live stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, on Twitch, The Rob Brown Show, or on YouTube, The Fan Upstate and The Rob Brown Show. Because we do stream live all 4 hours of the show, 5 days of the week.
Jump in and critique Rob's camera angle because I just don't like it. And if you like it, tell him that you like it. If you hate it, maybe he'll change it.
Yeah, probably not. I'm stubborn like a mule, I think is how that expression goes. I'm also, even for Friday, very grouchy today. Very grouchy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and leave.
I'm doing my best. I'm going to do my absolute best.
I wonder if bullpen B is ready to go because I'll give him a call.
Bullpen B.
If you think about it.
You would. No, listen. It was just a tough night. I'll tell you what it was last night. I was enthralled by this Luka Doncic performance last night. I stayed up late. I got all jacked up because the Carolina Hurricanes have just decided that for whatever reason, they're going to act like idiots in this series. For whatever reason, they have decided, and I cannot explain, though I wish I could. I know puck all. And I have decided that Carolina has decided that they are more concerned with their reputation. They are more concerned with their image. They are more concerned with how they are talked about on television than they are with winning. Because they come out last night and they decide, I guess for whatever reason, that being overwhelmingly tough and physical matters more than scoring goals. And while I don't pretend to be like the greatest knower of hockey in the world, what I do know is that when a series comes to its conclusion, I am relatively sure, not for sure, but I am relatively sure that they determine the team that moves on by by who scored the most goals, I think is how they do it. And again, I've been wrong before. Like 3 times I've been wrong before. But I've been wrong before.
Not this year though.
Not this year. It has been a little while. But while I have been wrong before, I am for sure that when this series comes to an end, they're not going to say, well, the Rangers did win 4 games of the 7, but Carolina was really tough. The Canes played really tough. And so because the Canes played really tough, we're actually going to go ahead and move that. That's not how it works. And this is really disappointing because I know what the criticism has been for the Carolina Hurricanes the last few years. The criticism for this team has been, and maybe justifiably so, that for whatever reason, when the playoffs come around, they lose their edge. They lose their toughness. They lose that attitude that makes them the bunch of jerks that we all love. That is the criticism, fair or foul. And I find this very interesting because that attitude is what made me fall in love with this franchise. But the fact that they had that attitude and still won hockey games, there to me is, and I got in this conversation last night with a couple of Hurricanes fans on Twitter, a couple of listeners that were watching the hockey game with me. And one of them, Trey, said something to the tune of, Rob Brown, the criticism of the team. Here, I'll read you the tweet. This is from Trey Stewart. I put up a tweet that said they gotta stop. They gotta stop. They're playing dumb. They gotta stop. And another listener put up a tweet that said, and I quote, "Stop doing stupid." So I retweeted that. And I said, if they get bounced in this series, this will be the official slogan of the 2024 Hurricane season. And then Trey, who I like, by the way, this is not like shots at Trey. Trey responded and he said, completely disagree. This team has been defined by and targeted for the last 3 years for being soft in the playoffs. This is what the playoffs are about. Why we brought in guys like Kuzi and Orlov in the first place. It's fire and physicality that Canes fans will agree has been desperately lacking in the playoffs for 3 straight seasons when the competition picks up. And with Rempe out, I'm absolutely fine with penalties to set the tone. Well, it was penalties that lost you game 3. It was penalties that lost you game 2. Game 1, New York outplayed you. Game 2, you gave them goals on the power play. Game 3, you gave them plays. You gave them points on the power play. And then you come into game 3. You've got everything on the line. And I said yesterday before this game dropped to start, if you lose either of the 2 games at home, and I do not care how you lose them. I don't care if you get blown out. I don't care if you lose in the 900th overtime period. If you lose this game, it's over. And it is over. The Canes are cooked. They're done. Write them off. Say night-night. They're gone. Because there is no world, none, where the Carolina Hurricanes are winning 4 consecutive over the Rangers. I thought the Canes coming into this, I thought it was very interesting that Carolina was the odds-on betting favorite to win the Eastern Conference because I thought the Rangers were better. I thought the Rangers are playing the hockey that Hurricanes fans wanted the Hurricanes to play. The Rangers are playing that fast, physical hockey. They've got the one goon, the one guy that they are going, you go enforce. You go own the glass. You go make sure they don't get comfortable. You go make sure they don't get going. And that's Matt Rempe. They didn't have that guy last night. And yet, they kept forcing Carolina to do dumb things. They kept forcing the Hurricanes to do dumb things. And the Hurricanes kept biting. They kept biting. They kept doing dumb things. They got into another big round of fights down on their end. It was just dumb thing after dumb thing after dumb thing after dumb thing. And it's like, at least I'm glad you have the image that you're tough. I'm glad that you can look out and go, yeah. We lost again. We've now lost 3 in a row, including one on our own home ice. But hey, we look tough. Because as we all know, that is what you get paid to do. You get paid to look tough, right? This is the kind of stuff in sports that drives me up a wall. And this is the kind of stuff I know that gives a certain kind of image that many of you hold looking at me. Rob's a wuss. Rob's not a manly man. And that's fine. I don't give a rat's patootie. Okay? I don't care. But if you went out there with the attitude that it was more important to you to look tough, to have fire or whatever, congratulations and enjoy Cancun.
I don't think that's where hockey players go. I think they go to Canada. At least if you can't look like you've got any fight left on you, rather in the rink, you just look like you got fight in you as a dude, I suppose.
I mean, sure. Here's the thing.
And you could say, hey, we were out there fighting. We're fighting. We're
Here's the problem. Dude, if you're down 5-0 at the end of the first period, that's fine. If they are kicking your ass, then I don't care if you kick theirs. But you were not. You had a 1-0 lead. You let them score back-to-back. It's 2-2. You fight back to the level draw. They get one, it's 3-2, or excuse me, they get one, it's 2-2. You score with like 1 minute and 24 seconds left in the game. You score an empty netter, you draw level, you're going to overtime. I am good with what you said. I am good if what you said is in a 5-1 ball game. If it's 6-0, like the other night, Florida-Boston. Boston's in the hole 6-1 in the third period. They are getting wrecked by the Panthers. Wrecked by the Panthers. If they start throwing blows in order to kind of soften up the Florida Panthers for Game 3, if they are throwing blows to try to make sure this team is a little, intimidated or whatever, because Boston is a tough team, then that's one thing. You're getting smoked and you're sending a message. But here's the other part. They were up 1 game when that happened. Carolina came into this game down 2 already. If you do not win both games at home, which now they have failed to do, if you don't win both games at home, you are now going back to New York, and you are going back to New York against elimination. Hell, that's if Carolina wins tomorrow night at home. And at this point, why in the world would I believe that they are? I may throw the bankroll at New York Rangers money line on the road tomorrow night. I don't really care that Carolina is facing elimination on their own ice. They might get swept in this series because they look pathetic. And trust me, this hurts me as much as you think it does. Because as I've mentioned on this show literally this week, my favorite coach in sports right now is Don Staley. My second is Rod Brindamore. I love Brindamore. I think he sets the standard, sets the culture at Carolina. He obviously gives a damn about that team, about that franchise, and the direction that they are going in. I like Rod Brindamore a lot. But man, this ain't it. Carolina is 0 for 15 on the power play. Hell, 0 for 15 on the power play and gave Chris Kreider a shorty last night. They scored on the man disadvantage last night in the second period. It's one thing to not score when you are up a man. It is a totally different thing to let them score when they are down a man. What is happening with this hockey team? I'll tell you this, as much as I sit here and talk about it, as much as I'm sitting here lamenting the L, it doesn't matter. The series is over. There is no world in which Carolina is winning 4 in a row, including 2 on the road at right now, the best home ice advantage in the NHL in New York. You are not going to, you're not going to win. If I told you right now, I'll make it easy for you, Canes. All you got to do is win back-to-back against the Rangers on the road. No, still no faith. I'd still bet New York. I would bet New York to win 2 in a 4-4 split before I would trust Carolina to win 2 out of 4 if they were all on the road. There's no chance here. This team, Texter says, the Canes played awful defense and gave up shorthanded goals. It was embarrassing. That was, and I mean this, if you have followed this show for the 4 and coming up on a half years that I have been here doing this with y'all, you know I love the Canes. I came here as a Predators guy, but I have adopted the Canes because I love the bunch of jerks attitude. Big fan. Last night, I should say this series, but specifically within this series, last night was the first night that I looked at this squad and was embarrassed by their performance. It was embarrassing. First time I was embarrassed by this team was last night. All right, we'll put that to bed. We might talk some more hacky later on in the show, but we do have a lot that we need to get to. Let me tell you about the busy day we got coming up. We have got Evan Lee of the Greenville Triumph joining us at 7:40 this morning as the Triumph are back home tomorrow. Paladin Stadium, getting back in front of the home side. Then at 8:20, Tyson Jeffers is the GM of the new Spartanburg baseball team. Lonzo is going to put his Batman Bruce Wayne cap on and see if he can sleuth us out some clues about to the name before they release it tomorrow. Then at 8:40, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joins the program to talk Panther football with us. All that and more coming up today on the Rob Brown Show, coming up today on the Fan Upstate. Yeah, man. Like, congrats on being tough. Enjoy your vacation, tough guy. It's I don't get it. If you care more about your reputation than winning games, go be a boxer. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, but if you're a boxer and you don't win, it hurts probably a lot, and you don't get to box as much because after you lose like 3 or 4 fights, no one wants to fight you. Maybe. I don't know. Dana White's viral FedEx delivery video leads to drivers firing. Good. Good. You're right. We all want to win. When it comes down to it, if you know you're not going to win the series, you might as well beat the other guys up.
You weren't out of it last night. You were down 2 games in a 7-game series. Plenty. You get game 3 and
maybe
4.
Mentally they have already checked out, and so on their way out,
If
they're
so,
going.
that's just as pathetic.
Yeah, well, yeah, but on your way out, you leave bruises. Apparently, I mean, you know.
Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. You know, basically double or nothing. You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match.
See terms at discover.com/credit card. Without the ones like you who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. With over 100 online casino-style games, Chumba Casino is your go-to destination for nonstop entertainment. Play for fun and play for free at ChumbaCasino.com.
I am going to argue there, APW Asylum Pro Wrestling.
Well done.
I'm going to argue that no, win-loss record is more important than your reputation. I don't care if they view you as the softest athlete to ever play your game. If you got a fistful of rings to show for it, who cares?
You're not arguing. You're saying the same thing he said. Maybe you just didn't, unless I'm reading it wrong.
He said everyone wants to have a tough guy image, but having a good win-loss record is just as important. No. It's more important.
I don't know.
All right, so I didn't want to have this conversation on the air, but I got to. We have got on our stream right now a commenter going by APW Asylum Pro Wrestling. Check him out. Local indie wrestling will live forever. We should ask Damien about local indie wrestling. Like, do you sneak into shows? You know?
He ain't sneaking into
But
shows.
he does. He's only a 6'5" gothic Puerto Rican.
Yeah,
His
I mean,
state doesn't stand out, right?
no one's going to notice him, sliding in the back. No.
So we were talking in the last segment. I said, look, here's the problem to me. I think the Carolina Hurricanes went into that game last night caring more about their reputation than they cared about the series win. And I have a sincere and genuine problem with that. If you go, I don't care what sport and I do not care what level. And AP Dub popped up in here and said, everyone wants to have a tough guy image, but having a good win-loss record is just as important. No, it's more important. That's literally the thing that you are doing.
I can't speak for them, but I would just say if you're going to lose, you don't want to look like, lame on your way out. Like,
first off, who gives a damn? You're a loser. You're a loser. You've lost. You are a loser. And I think the word, like the connotation of the word loser can be different strengths. If you lose, you are a loser. Remember yesterday or the day before when we were having a conversation about Cole Bryson's take that kids aren't committed and they're quitters. And I said, I don't think they're quitters. And Trey came on the stream and he said, if you quit, you are a quitter. Yes, by letter of the word. So letter of the word, if you lose a series, you are a loser. Okay? But here is the thing.
I will remind you of this in football season.
That's fine. I don't care.
Or when we have an argument about championships, which we always have had, and how I believe championships is what makes your career, and you don't.
No, I do not.
And if you didn't win the championship, then you're a loser.
No.
If
I win 51% of my games, again, listen, I'm not going to get bogged down by rhetoric here. I'm not going to get bogged down by rhetoric. What I'm going to say is,
sorry for using words. I'll do better.
That is not what I mean. I mean, we are tinkering with words in order to get away from opinions.
You already said you're grumpy, so
grumpy.
I'm just trying to decide which way I want to go with this. So yeah.
So when it comes to a game like this, I agree. I don't agree with, but I understand with what you said. If you're gonna lose the series, bruise them up on the way out. Make them remember that they beat you.
Also, you're also making it a little bit more difficult for them to win the next one. You could say that's a sore loser, and yeah, but they're also going to be sore winners because you put some bruises on them.
I don't particularly care.
Especially in hockey, this seems like the way you do it.
I don't particularly care, but I understand it. Okay? Here's my problem with that. Last night in that game, the series was not over. Being in a hole 2 games is not the end of a series. You come right back, you win 2 games, and you chop it down to a 3-game series. Now it's a 3-game series, best of 3. They still have home ice, but it's best of 3. You came into that game very much a chance. In hockey, if you are down 0-3, you are not winning the series. You're just not. Especially not when you are on the road. There have been 4 in the history of the NHL. There have been 4 teams that trailed in a series 0-3 and came back to win that series. The 2014 Kings and the 2010 Flyers are the only modern era teams to do it. The other teams were the 1975 Islanders and the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs. That's it. That's it. So coming into that game and down through overtime of that game, you were alive. You were alive. You had a chance to win. But for whatever reason, you started that game under Rod Brindamore. You started that game like you needed to come out and you wanted to beat them up. Well, great. Congratulations. You beat them up. They are physically bruised up this morning. They are hurting this morning. You know what else they are this morning? Up 3-0 in the series. Statistically, they got about a 99% chance of moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals now. But congrats. You look tough. That's what matters, right? That's what mattered last night. You looked tough. Everybody went in the, look how tough this Carolina Hurricanes team is. This team is so tough. They're big, strong boys. Good for them. They got their asses kicked. They're 3-0 down in the hole to a good New York Rangers team. They face elimination on their own ice in the first cycle of games at home. And if by some miracle they win that, they got to go back to the most difficult place to play in the NHL and steal one on the road. And if they do that, then they got to come down and play on their home ice again on the brink of elimination. And if by a miracle they do that, Game 7 is in New York. But you look tough. Cool. Great job. I'm proud of your reputation. Enjoy your reputation when you're on the beach next week.
If any of them were in the room right now, you would get cross-checked so hard. Might lose a few teeth.
You know why? Because they'd be mad because I'm right. They'd be embarrassed because I'm right. Great job. You look like super duper badasses. You can all beat me up. And that's what matters to you. That's what it looks like. It looks to me like beating people up matters to you more than winning the Stanley Cup. That's what it looked like. I'm not saying that's what you got up in the old noggin. But what I watched last night, it looked like a team that it was more important to rough up New York than it was to beat New York. Congrats, you did it.
I'm guessing you're not a fan of the team, but man, you sound like one.
Of what team?
Yeah, of Carolina.
I am a big fan of. I watched their game last night. That's how big of a fan I am. How many of y'all watched? Here's how big of a fan I am.
So this is a fan rant. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little slow this morning.
No, let's be clear.
You know,
it's an analyst rant.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
sounds a little more like a fan rant to me.
I am going to begin referring to a segment like this one as a fanalist. All right? I'm a fanalist. I'm an analyst. I'm a guy who knows puck all, but I'm also a fan. I'm also a fan. Let me put it this way. I understand if we're really pulling back the curtain here on the Rob Brown Show, doing back-to-back hockey segments is a terrible idea. Okay? It just is. Doing back-to-back NHL hockey segments is a bad idea for me. It is a bad idea for the show because, let's call a spade, it's a minimal audience around here. There's a lot of hockey fans. I get asked to do some hockey every now and then, but to do back-to-back hockey segments is a bad idea for me. The reason I am doing it is because I, as somebody who has attached myself to that team, I tell y'all all the time, the likelihood is that I don't hate your team. Rob, you hate my team. I don't hate your team. The likelihood, statistically speaking, is that I don't give a damn about your team.
Yeah, there's a likelihood that I do hate your team.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean.
Hang on, where's Taylor? There she is. makes me feel better. Tay makes me feel better.
Is it like a hug? A nice
It
warm
is.
hug?
It's like an audio hug for your ear balls. So the likelihood is I don't care about your team. Unless you're Atlanta, unless you're the Falcons, unless you're the Cowboys. There's probably a couple other ones. The Yankees. I dislike your teams. But Clemson, I don't hate your team. I don't love your team. I support your team because when they're good, I make money. South Carolina, I don't hate your team and I love your team. I support your team because when they win, I make money and I have a happy fiance. Okay? I got a lot of different teams around here that I don't care for. I like them. I don't like them. I'll tell you what, Lonzo's pointing out that I'm wearing a Gamecocks hockey jersey. Hey, if anybody from the Clemson Hockey Club wants to send me a jersey with my name on the back, I'll wear the hell out of it too. All right? I rep gear of teams I don't like all the time.
Don't do that. I'll have to put sunglasses on.
You'll have to deal with it. If somebody wants to pop up with a Clemson Tiger Hockey Club jersey with my name on the back, I'll rock the hell out of the two. That's how I ended up with this. So I don't hate your team. I don't love your team. I want your team to do well because when they do well, I get paid. However, I've absolutely attached my fandom to the Carolina Hurricanes. You know why? Because a handful of years ago, Ron Cherry called them, quote, that bunch of jerks. And Carolina made one of the greatest branding moves of all time in embracing that. You can go online right now and buy an official shirt from the club that has the logo on the side. It's got the hockey stick with the hurricane flags flying off the side of it. And it says, Lonzo, Carolina, bunch of jerks on it. I love it. I immediately jumped in. The post-game sellies on the ice where they're out there using hockey sticks like Thor's hammer and they all fall down, or they bring out a Little Tykes goal and they let the game winner do a dunk on it and they all fall. It's great stuff. The team's fun. But this is professional sports. There is a time where you have to flip that switch down and you got to flip. This is why so many athletes take crap, because there's a time to flip off the I like sports switch and a time to flip up the I'm going to kill everybody, metaphorically speaking, switch. That's it. That's why so many of y'all have been against guys like LeBron, because you feel like he doesn't have that kill switch engaged. He doesn't have that ability to flip it on and go finish somebody. Well, this is the playoffs, man. If you don't flip that switch when you are at home, if you don't flip that switch when you are at home and down 0-2, if you don't flip that switch when you are at home down 0-2 and in a must-win 2-game set to take a level series back to game 5 in New York, then I don't know what to tell you. And as a fan, it's disappointing because this year, Carolina entered these playoffs as the Eastern Conference finalist. Now they need a miracle. They will have to literally make history to have a shot. But hey, they look tough. And that's what matters, right? They're going to go down to Cancun and they're all going to be on the beach and they're going to walk up to a pretty girl and go, hey, I'm the toughest guy in the NHL.
Then they're going to smile and they're going to see they're missing a bunch of teeth. And they just, it's just...
Where's your ring? Well, I don't have one. But I really hit that one guy from New York that one time. Who cares? That's not history. All right, let's get away from hockey when we come back. The Rob Brown Show's busy. It is the Fan Upstate. Got me far more interested in the NHL playoffs and we'll start watching from this rant. No, dude, the NHL, listen, the Stanley Cup playoffs are incredible. College baseball has the best postseason. The NHL has the most exciting postseason, and it's not close. All right, now I have to go blow my nose before I throw up.
Thank you for sharing with all of us
You're
about
welcome.
that. Yeah, you might have grossed some people with their biscuit out. I'm just saying, as in eating breakfast. Not sure the Moles are up this early, but they probably are. do I fuel the grumpiness or just do the homer hide in the bushes? I don't know. What? Where's Bill? Hope he's not sick.
So my home is also my office. Before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That room's tidying up and spraying my Febreze air mist.
So disappointed Bill Brooks appears to be off today.
Oh,
Yeah.
how am I supposed to enjoy traffic?
I know.
So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries. If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget.
Wow, Mark Ryan called Patrick Mahomes the GOAT, or the unicorn. That's what he called him, a unicorn.
That's fair.
Same-day service available on hundreds of items if you order by noon, and all backed by Staples Print Perfect guarantee. So it's done right.
1,000 miles away from me, and suddenly he's coming to a census.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good, Corey LaJoy. Welcome back. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
Stop all your lying.
Yeah, that was a
You,
lie.
you ain't real good.
That was a lie.
You're not convincing anybody.
I am stiregulating.
You know what would make you feel better? If you walk down the hall and just found somebody since you're wearing a hockey jersey.
Just
and
go hit somebody?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
go show them how tough I am?
Yeah, you should do that.
I'm tough. Let's go check Stoneman into a wall.
Why was it got to be him? I was thinking Fat Boy. Go see if you can check him into the wall. I want to watch that because I don't think he'll do it. Or could
You're
do it.
damn right I wouldn't do it. I mean, I feel like I need a running start.
He's built like a redwood. You're not.
built like a-
Yeah, you don't even want the running start. It's
Yeah.
not. You and I together could not move
Yeah.
that guy if he didn't want to be
He
moved.
is the sturdiest of the. There's a few of us sturdy boys up in here. He is the sturdiest. And by the way, this is all complimentary.
Yeah, it's definitely
That dude
complimentary.
is what my uncles would say, a house. He's a house.
Just a hint of jealousy there.
Hell yeah.
I want to be unmovable, but I know I'm not.
All right. Let's get into some other stuff here on the show. Let's get away from hockey for a little while. I'm probably going to come back to it later. I don't think that's the reason I'm grumpy, but it didn't help. Didn't help. I do want to talk about Luka Doncic a little bit. Luka.
Speaking of getting beat up, they beat him.
Speaking of getting
They beat
up.
him up last night. He was bloodied. He was limping.
Let's be clear. He came into that game not right. He was not 100% coming into that. He wasn't 100% coming into this series. Go back to game one where he got popped underneath the basket and he went and sat down on the base of the basket and was rubbing that knee. He's not right, which is why it is more impressive, which is why it is more admirable that he went out last night and did what he did last night to even that series up last night. Took game two, 119-110 was your final in that one. Luka Doncic poured in 29 points on the offensive end, added in 10 rebounds and 7 assists, 3 steals, and a block, turned the ball over just one time in the contest. And he did all this while he was banged up. As Lonzo pointed out just mere moments ago, there was a shot of Luka from ground level coming back down the court after a possession. And if you looked at the knee pads, he was bleeding through them. And just so we are clear, he had like at least 3 layers around that knee that he bled through. Because you usually go with a layer of like mesh, then like a layer of tape, then a layer of the padding, then another layer of tape, and then he had leggings on over that. So actually probably 4 to 6 layers of fabric that he bled through. Now, I don't know why he was bleeding. I don't know if it was just like a scuffed knee that got out of control underneath the pad. I don't know if there was some stitches in there we don't know about. I don't know why he was. But what I do know is my dude was bloody. My dude was beaten up. There was one play in particular that jumped out at me. Because Luka takes a lot of crap. One of the things that I have seen Luka take crap for is too much whining when he doesn't get calls that he thinks he should get. And in fairness, he does. I've seen it. That's not me trying to argue that he doesn't do that. He does, for sure.
It's the Steph Curry method.
Yes. And Luka's as bad as Steph. He is. I find it interesting, Zoe, that you're a Luka guy because he's as bad as Steph is. However, he's also as good as Steph is.
No binky.
So he doesn't wear a mouthpiece, and that's the difference?
There's a difference between wearing a mouthpiece. If you wear a mouse, that's weird. But if wearing a mouthpiece and doing what Steph does with his mouthpiece,
However we feel about those two individuals, Luka Doncic is a tough son of a biscuit. He just is. And he showed it again last night. He came down the floor on one possession that stood out to me as distinct from the others. Oklahoma City scored a basket. The Mavs come back down to the other end of the floor. And this got caught on a ceiling cam. It was making its way around Twitter. I thought that I saw it in the game, but the ceiling cam view that was making its way around Twitter last night really jumped out to me. Luka's coming down the floor. And dude is hobbled. I'm not talking about walking gingerly. I'm not talking about a slight limp. He looks like a 95-year-old man when it's about to rain outside because my knees hurt.
Or me when I'm trying to get out of the studio.
Or Lonzo any given day. Yeah. He looked bad. He looked rough. So he comes down the floor. He is, again, I'm going to say walking gingerly, but that's not quite adequate. He was hobbled. And he gets down the floor, and he sets up at the free throw line extended, and they get him the ball, and all of a sudden, his knees are fine. And he takes a move inside, rocks the defender backwards, hits a big step back behind the arc, knocks down a 3, and Dallas maintains their lead. And then he hobbles back down to the other end of the floor, looking just as bad. And he gets back down to the other end of the floor, and he breaks down in defense, and then his knee's fine again. To the point that I said the Lonzo word. Is this a work? Like, is he trying to lull them to sleep a little bit? Is he faking this to try to put...
He had the announcers going too. It's like, oh, they got to call a timeout here. He can barely move. And then he comes and one of the announcers looks like he's moving pretty good now, isn't he? So yeah, I don't know that it's a work. I think it's an adrenaline thing.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Just so we're clear, I said it to myself at one point. I said, is this a work? Is this a guy that's not as bad as it looks between possessions who's trying to lull a team to sleep. Is this a mind game by chance? And then they would come back down the floor and he would look awful. And then he would end up with the ball in his hands and he would do Luka things again. 11 of 21 from the floor, 5 of 8 from range, 10 rebounds. If a guy's got jacked up knees, he's not getting double-digit boards in the NBA. But Luka did. And the more I watch, when the blood started coming through the wrappings around the knee, that's when I'm like, oh, no, this guy is banged up for sure. And yet, he's gutting it out. He's gutting it out. He is staying true to that generalization we have about Eastern European players. You could stab Luka Doncic in the friggin' shoulder blade, and he's going to find a way to go out there and get you 29, 10, and 7.
Dude, that's a little extreme. Yeah,
My man's bleeding through 5 layers around his knee and yet kept going.
I'm starting to worry I'm not making it out of the studio today.
Listen, I don't need to prove how tough I am to anybody, all right? Y'all just know. Y'all just know how tough I am. I play hurt every day. Every day.
Yeah, but not Luka hurt.
No, not Luka hurt. If I was Luka hurt, I'd be calling the boss at 2 a.m. Hey, I ain't coming in. Sorry, dog. Nope, ain't happening. Ain't happening. Anyway.
And he would say, is your voice bruised?
Get it together, Brown. I think that Luka Doncic, for the heat that he has taken, if you have given him heat for whining about calls, which is fair. It's fair. As part of his game.
It's so subjective, the people who, oh, look at LeBron or look at this. I mean, if you like a guy, you don't notice it as much. If you don't like a guy, then you go at him. There's just name me an NBA star that doesn't whine a little bit. It's a part of the game.
Nikola Jokic does it.
Yeah, it's a part of the game. And I think the real question is, does it work? Does the whining to the ref actually get you a call eventually?
Tell you what I saw last night at one point. There was a point that Luka Doncic had a ball top left side of the key, got a screen, drove to the rack, put up I don't remember if it was like a mid-range jumper or a layup, but went to the rack and drew contact, did not get the call, and it was a whistle. I want to say maybe Oklahoma City took a timeout or whatever, but action stopped. And I see Luka make a beeline to the referee. And I'm like, oh, here we go. My dude is out here having a performance. This guy's going to do something here. I think he's going to lambast this referee. And he walks up to the ref. And dude, he has the most like chill, calm conversation with the ref. They showed it for a second, and he walks up and he kind of puts the hand on the shoulder, and he's like using his hands to draw out the imaginary play. You know, I came here as a screen, and I came here, and he had this very like relaxed conversation with the ref, and the ref looks at him and like shakes the head, yeah, I get it, I'll watch it, whatever, and then he just kind of gives him the pat on the shoulder and walks back to the bench. And I thought, that's how you do it. He gets it. He understands. He was able to temper the emotion there, which is good. They need more out of that, more like that out of Luka Doncic. And then, do you know what happened down the stretch? Luka started getting some calls. The Mavs started getting some calls. I'm like, all right, that's a team leader right there.
So you're saying it worked?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it did. Luka, by the way, finished this game, 0 personal fouls. Good defensive effort. 0 personal fouls. That's pretty impressive. I think Luka kind of got to the point where I think he kind of settled down. Banged up, bruised up, knocked around, but yet he settled down. The point of all of this is that Luka Doncic is very high on my list of favorite NBA players right now. I think he is for Lonzo as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
One of my favorite NBA players right now, and last night was the reason why. This guy is hobbled to the point of pain. I do not think he could fake it the way that he looked last night. And yet, in a game they had to have, because, again, if you lose the first two on the road, the likelihood you lose that series skyrockets. If you lose the first two on the road, the likelihood you lose that series is exponentially greater. That does not mean that game two, if you lose game one, is a must-win game. But if you lose game one and game two on the road, now games 3 and games 4 are must-win games. Games 3 and 4 are now not must-win games for the Mavs because they stole this one on the road from Oklahoma City. And a big part of the reason and the way that they did that was Luka doing Luka stuff, and it was impressive. It was impressive. This guy deserves more credit than he's getting. All right. We have a very busy show lined up for you today. We have got coming up in the next segment, the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office this morning in just a little bit over in an hour. Then at 7:40, we're going to be joined by Evan Lee, veteran defensive player for the Greenville Triumph. They are back home tomorrow evening at Paladin Stadium. Then we will have the 8 o'clock hour where Alonzo and I will take a look at the weekend sports schedule and tell you the events we're most looking forward to. Then at 8:20, Tyson Jeffers, the general manager of the new Spartanburg baseball team, will join us here on the show as they get prepped to release the name of the franchise tomorrow at the block party taking place at 5 p.m. in downtown Spartanburg. Then at 8:40, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast will join us here on the radio program. We'll talk a little Panther football ordinarily. He stops by on Thursdays, was a little bit busy with his real job yesterday, so he'll join us today at 8:40. As, by the way, the Panthers become the first team in the National Football League to sign all of their draft class. I'm telling you, I know it doesn't sound like much. I know it doesn't feel like it's a big deal. You know what that tells me? Dan Morgan's locked in right now. Dan Morgan knows the guys he wants. He wants them there enough that he is going to make sure it gets done and gets done quick so these guys can get in, get to camp, get working, not be distracted by contract resolutions, et cetera, et cetera. That's a big move from Dan Morgan. So we'll talk Rashad Beard's Carolina Panthers at 8:40. And then the last hour of the show, 9 to 10 a.m., is Free for All Friday. It's whatever y'all want. I don't care. I don't care. Whatever topics you want to get to, whatever conversations you want to have, Free for All Friday from 9 to 10 a.m. Let's get weird. Let's get wild. It's Friday. Who cares? Hey, Greenville Liberty at home, by the way, tonight. I'll be on the call. Keep an eye on my social media later on today at The Rob Brown Show on Twitter. I will let you know where you can stream that game if you want to watch. Should be a good time. I'll tell you what else is going to be a good time. What's going to be a good time is when all of us, right now, turn the volume up, sit back, unwind, take a deep breath, and be seduced by the Sports Flash.
Yeah, I hesitated because seduction, you got to take a moment of breath, you know. Georgia hit 5 home runs and scored 7 in the opening 2 innings in a 14-10 win over the South Carolina Gamecocks baseball team last night. Carolina trailed 12-4 in the 6th before scoring 3 and adding 3 more in the 8th, but couldn't find more in the final frame. Game 2 in the series is today at 5:30. Game 2 of the Mavericks Thunder series went Dallas's way with a 119-110 win last night. Luka Doncic looked more like Luka, scoring 29 and adding 10 boards and 7 assists despite being hobbled with a bad knee. PJ Washington scored 28 with 11 boards. Game 3 is tomorrow evening. I don't know if you knew about this, but tune in this Monday to the Rob Brown Show as we welcome live in studio your WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Damian Priest, ahead of Raw in Greenville. Make sure you check it out.
small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
At Ingles, we're proud to work with hundreds of local farms and businesses in the communities we call home. Not only do we ensure
Yeah, I'm having a day.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
Is there anything I can do?
No, I don't think so.
Back rub.
This?
No, it's not. The Hurricanes got smoked last night. That really ticked me off. Also, your de-esser thing. No. Am I essing overly hard on this, or is it in my head because I learned about a de-esser yesterday?
It's in your head.
Okay.
And also, again, it has no power. I have it up near the top, and somebody else with a lower voice who's not yelling, it might be difficult.
Well, again, we can adjust. Yeah,
Yeah, we might need to turn the gain up on it,
Uh,
volume up on it,
okay.
whichever one.
That's fine. I can do that.
Okay.
You're on 3. You're actually using 3 this week.
Yes.
The reason that I was coming in here is to mention that I was checking air signals today and noticed that 96.3 and 97.7.
That's us.
One of those you will recognize are completely covered up this morning.
Cool.
And
So no one can hear us.
I went and looked at the tropospheric ducting forecast map for our region for today.
Y'all know
And
Chris
it
knows
is-
Latin?
And it's particularly bad for a while.
You finally get to use that engineering answer. You finally do. Way to go.
I sure do. Well, I'm being preemptive about it.
Okay. All right.
Because you guys are likely to get calls and or texts about it. Maybe even emails.
Nah, nobody listens
But
to
I
this
just
show.
wanna
That answer that Jerry Massey used to give, and I look at him like,
not today.
yeah, that was.
So it's a-
Propagation describes electromagnetic propagation in relation to the troposphere. Service area from VHF or UHF radio transmitter extends to just beyond the optical horizon, at which point signals start to rapidly reduce in strength. Viewers living in such a deep French reception area will notice during conditions weak signals normally masked by noise increase in signal strength to allow quality reception. Such conditions are related to the current state of the troposphere.
Yep.
Somebody broke the troposphere.
So us in the block, no one can hear
Yeah,
us.
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Well, and I mean, like B, Planet, ORD, they're going to be strong enough signals to push through most of that, at least in most of their range. But
But on the edge,
lower-
on the edge of the
edges
thing,
is
yeah.
where you're going to notice.
So
it.
we're an internet show today.
Kind of. I hate to tell you.
Is it like bad radio to talk about that?
I think so, because we've had
I'm gonna defer to your producer on that.
we've had and co-host, we've had an executive producer,
Thank you.
and we've had 0 complaints.
Right. Well, and that's why I'm here. is to give
Yeah.
you just kind of
He's
a-
saying it could be. It doesn't mean it is. For some people, because some people have really strong radios, and maybe they can hear it.
Also, I was just listening today, and it is like the signal is trash. It's bad. I mean, which is why I came in here. If it was just a little bad, I'd be like, okay, it's probably not worth mentioning. But it's like completely covered up. You can't hear the station on 97.
Yes, stream. This is an actual conversation
Congratulations,
that
Steve.
happens quite often, and
This is you get
yes.
Rob Brown internet exclusive today.
I
This is
really,
somebody broke the
I
troposphere.
hate when people go on the air. I know you can't hear me. Shut up. I mean, don't do that.
Should be fine, or at least it should be better. Let me put it that way. It should be better if you can direct people to listen there, or as you mentioned on the internet. Now's a chance to boost your streaming numbers.
Or you just don't mention it at all till we get a complaint.
Or not. Yeah. So, but I like I said, I wanted you guys to be aware so that we could sort of preempt any of those.
Okay. Chris broke the troposphere. Got it.
Chris did it. It's I liken it to the. You're going.
We are.
What, you have 10 seconds.
You know when you look at the asphalt on a hot day and it
Yeah.
kind of shimmers like that?
Yeah.
It's like that but for radio.
Okay. Okay. We broke the atmosphere.
It's messing up all of the organization that we put into the signal.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe.
Nah, get that stuff out, man.
Maybe.
Come on. Get it out of there.
Yes! Yeah! Yes! Yeah! Yes! Yeah! Yes!
I'll have what they're having.
Harry Met Sally. Good flick. Saw it once in like 1999 and
Yeah,
probably never since.
It's a pretty old movie, but it's referenced quite often.
It
So,
is.
yeah.
It is. Welcome back, folks. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show begins right now. This is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown and the Great Lonzo with you here on a Friday morning. We'll just say Friday morning. It's Friday morning.
It is. Listen, it's a beautiful Friday because you're alive. I'm alive. We're alive. I mean, that's a good thing, I think. I think I woke up this morning and I was breathing. Now that's pretty cool.
Day to day. It depends on the day.
You can't find anything positive about this day.
Greenville Liberty play tonight. I'll get to call some play-by-play on the soccer pitch.
There you go.
That's pretty exciting.
Just spend some quality time with Chris. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some things.
I'm learning about atmospheric phenomenon that I didn't know was it. I mean, I knew it was a thing. I just didn't know that how it was a thing.
Let's not bore people. It was interesting though.
It's very interesting. I learned things about the troposphere today. I'm smarter now than I was 10 minutes ago, and I feel good about that. All right, so that's exciting. There you go. There's a positive.
We'll see if I ask you about it in hour 4 if you remember exactly what it was.
There's a little silver lining as long as you can see it through the troposphere. That's what I learned today. All right. We have got a lot going on. As I mentioned, going out of the last hour, Evan Lee of the Greenville Triumph at 7:40. Tyson Jeffers, GM of the new Spartanburg baseball team at 8:20. Rashad Beard at 8:40 from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. You're my programming director, whatever you want to get to that we haven't gotten to this week. But
wait, I'm your program director?
I mean, you kind of are. Let's be honest.
I mean, you said you wasn't specific, so I took that as you were talking to me.
The royal you. Our lovely,
still me. Still me.
Whatever you want to get to. I don't care. I don't care. We have got a great weekend in sports coming up. I'm very excited about it. You should be too. We got great college baseball with both Clemson and South Carolina. South Carolina locked in a battle with Georgia last night. 14-12 your final. A lot of runs. Hope you smash the over in that game. And I got a feeling there's going to be a lot more of that over the next couple of days. As Georgia and Carolina are locked in a set. Clemson's got a good set coming up as they make their run towards the top seed in the ACC. We'll talk some college baseball. We got the NBA and NHL playoffs going on as well. Nelly Corda on the LPGA Tour is going for win number 6 in a row to set an LPGA Tour record. Fires a first round 69. That's good for 3 under. 6 shots off the lead, though, because Rose Zhang is out there slinging the rock around the golf course, so we might get into that. WNBA preseason underway. Caitlin Clark last night made her home debut for the Indiana Fever. Ended up with 25 in the performance as we work towards opening day of the WNBA next Tuesday. We got a lot going on. There's a lot of things you need to know, specifically if you're checking into work in 56 minutes and 3 seconds from right now, and you're ready to take that first break in like 1 hour, 16 minutes and 36 seconds from right now, you're going to go talk sports. And if you're going to talk sports, you got to know what's going on in the world of sports. And if you've got to know what's going on in the world of sports, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers.
Yeehaw! Hear that? No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
Stuff is catching, man.
You managed to be both early and late at the same time.
Yeah, I know.
That's impressive.
It's pretty amazing.
That's impressive.
I'm done. I am.
You missed the fart sound on both ends.
I am going, so to speak. I am going to the bullpen. Chris ain't doing nothing. I'll get him to come in here. You guys will have fun.
Water cooler cheat sheet top 3. Don't do that. Don't do that. It would just turn into a dictionary discussion for these lovely listeners. All right, we all know that's
some of them might need it. I mean, you know,
troposphere or troposphere.
Oh, it's definitely trope.
Definitely.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You're confident.
If you say trop,
Troposphere.
Yeah, it's because you're from Florida. You think
You got Tropicana Field.
tropical. Yeah,
Tropical.
yeah.
Wouldn't that make sense for it to me?
Mm,
Let's go to a tropical island. That's not it.
Yeah, but it's science, man. Science has to be different.
Water Cooler Cheat Sheet Top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports this morning. Let us begin with item number 1. NBA playoffs going down last night, 119-110. Your final, the Dallas Mavericks pull even with the number 1 overall seeded Oklahoma City Thunder. Luka Doncic is a freaking dude. 29 points, 10 boards, 7 assists in a winning effort last night, and did it all with hobbled legs. 41 minutes played. Kyrie tossed in just 9 points, but had 11 assists, running a more traditional point guard set last night. He also played 41 minutes. PJ Washington, the unsung hero of the evening, had 7 3-pointers made out of 11 efforts. He went for 29 points as well. You got 33 out of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Nobody else doing much else. You ended up getting 20 points out of Jalen Williams. You got just 11 out of Chet Holmgren, your Rookie of the Year runner-up this year. He was 4 of 12 and 1 of 6 from the floor and from deep last night. Nobody outside of those 3 got to double digits last night for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was one of the least impressive offensive outings that this team has had in the playoffs so far. So you got to wonder if maybe the Dallas Mavericks figured them out a little bit. But while that game was not a must-win, as we talked about with the Canes earlier, and we will again here in just a moment from right now, if you lose both games on the road to open up a series, then both games 3 and 4 become must-win. If you split 1-1 on the road, you effectively steal home field advantage. And that's what Dallas has done here. Now, games 3 and 4 are not must-wins, but you just have to win one of those 2 to ensure that you have a level 3-game series on the way out. That's a great performance from Dallas. And even greater performance last night from the Cleveland Cavaliers. They don't just beat the Boston Celtics, they ran the Boston Celtics last night. You had a tied ball game at the half, but Cleveland ran away, outscored the Celtics by a dozen in the third quarter and by a dozen more in the fourth. All 5 Cleveland starters in double digits, led by a guy that I have been absolutely applauding game by game by game for these Cleveland Cavaliers. That is Donovan the Spider Mitchell. 29 points, 7 boards, 8 assists, just 1 turnover last night for Donovan Mitchell as he led his Cavs. They asked him once again after the game, how'd you get here? And he said, we did not have a choice. He knew it. You have to split 1-1 as the road team to open a series. They did just that. They got 21 from Levert off the bench. You got 21 from Mobley, 12 from Okoro, 14 from Garland, and 12 from Strus pitched in alongside Spida's 29. The Cleveland Cavaliers have pulled level in this series. Both of those series are now 1-1. Coming up tonight, the Indiana Pacers are going to try to climb back into this. The New York Knicks lead that series 2-0 as they took both. That makes, as far as I am concerned, tonight a must-win for the Pacers. And then Denver on the road at Minnesota, and Denver lost both of the first 2 games at the house. So now they are in a must-win scenario, and they are in a must-win scenario on the road at a very, very rowdy Minnesota Timberwolves squad. Let's go over to the NHL in last night's playoffs. Avalanche Stars, Dallas gets game 2 with a 5-3 win over Colorado. That levels that series at 1 game apiece. The Stars, they do this fun thing where they dominate a game and then they get dominated in the same game. The Stars were up 4-0 at the end of the first period. They allowed the Avalanche to get 3 consecutive back and make it real dicey before Issa Lindell was able to get an empty net goal inside of a minute left to play to finally give the Stars a little breathing room. They did everything they could to choke that game away, but were able to finish, which has been a problem for Dallas in these playoffs. 5-3, the Stars level the series at 1 apiece, and Carolina Hurricanes embarrassing themselves. Just embarrassing themselves. They lose both games on the road at New York. They come back home. It's a must-win scenario as far as I'm concerned. They've got everything going their way, and then they just choke on home ice. They drop a 3-2 overtime decision to the New York Rangers. Let's say this before we go any further. Igor Shesterkin is a stud in the goal for the Rangers. He might be the most difficult goalie to score.
Who was that?
Igor Shesterkin. Shesterkin.
Okay, I just
that's not me like struggling with words today.
I wasn't being critical. I was trying to get the pronunciation down, and the way you say it is
Igor Shesterkin.
Shesterkin.
You can just call him Mr. Brick Wall if you want. You can just call him the Brick Wall. 47 shots against last night. It made all but 2 of them into saves. Dude was absolutely lights out. Gunsel got the scoring open very early in the first period, but then a pair put the Rangers back up, including another one from Alexis Lafreniere. There's another one you can work on. Great one. Lafreniere.
Yeah, I was just helping.
He's French.
I was helping you test the de-esser was what I was doing.
Shesterkin. Alexis Lafreniere. Andrei Svechnikov got another one to bring the Canes back to even. Then we took it to OT, and Panarin was able to finish that off. So the Rangers now up 3-0 on Carolina. Game 4, home ice for the Canes, and every game's a must-win. Now you're on the verge of elimination. Let's quickly run to item numero dos. This news broke yesterday on the show. But hey, it's still news. The Charlotte Hornets have found their new head coach. The team announced yesterday that it has hired Boston Celtics assistant coach Charles Lee, who will join the team once Boston's playoff run is complete. Lee has spent the last 10 years as an assistant in the NBA. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reportedly is joining the Hornets on a 4-year contract. Basically, the guy has been a part of a lot of successful programs. He was a member of the Bucks coaching staff during their championship run. He helped assistant coach the Bucks to one of the best regular season records over the past few years in the NBA. Then it gets to Beantown, and when you look at that, the Boston Celtics are the number 1 seed in the East. And despite a bad L last night, still the odds-on favorite to win the Eastern Conference. The Hornets finished last year with a 21-61 record, 13th in the Eastern Conference, and Steve Clifford announced he was stepping down at the end of the season to move into a front office role next year. The Celtics, almost the exact opposite record, but better, 64-18 this season, playing the Cleveland Cavaliers in the second round of the playoffs after they dispatched the Heat with a gentleman's sweep in round number 1. They hold now a 1-1 series tie with Cleveland. I love this hiring. Charles Lee is 39 years old. He is young enough, like I am, to still be hip to the lingo with the kids, but he is also old enough that he's got a decade of experience working in some very successful franchises over the past few years. He is a very solid mixed pick. You get a little bit of the 2 most important things. You get a guy who can talk to a team that is built very young on one side, and on the other side, a guy who has been here, done that, and succeeded as an assistant coach and has a ring to show for it. I love this hiring for the Charlotte Hornet basketball team. Let's get to item number 3. Carolina Panthers. First team to sign every one of their draft picks. Now, this is not something you're going to get a trophy for. This is not something that you're going to hear brought up by a ton of national talking heads. This is not something that is necessarily going to be celebrated any kind of way. But let me tell you why I think it is a big deal. I think it's a big deal because it shows Dan Morgan's got the head down, the nose to the grindstone. I think he is working right now, and that is an attitude we have not seen out of Fitzy in a while.
That is the point. Dan, you're sitting in a room with Dan Morgan. You're signing anything, aren't you? I mean, he just, I bet he doesn't say anything. He just looks at you.
Sign this.
And he's just like,
yes,
it's like, okay,
sir.
you got anything else?
No, sir.
I sign anything you need me to sign.
Sign this. It says
Works for me.
You got it, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Morgan, sir. No, listen, I think this is indicative of the work attitude, the character that you are going to get out of the new Panthers leadership. This to me feels like a team that has, what's the word I'm looking for here? Motivation, is driven to be better. Like I said, Lonzo knows this. I am just the king of relentless optimism. Never a bad day for me.
You know, I come in sometimes and I'm like, man, I'm just not feeling it. And then spend a little time with Rob and I feel better.
He just straight up asked me on certain days, can you motivate me right now? And I do. That's what I do. I'm here to be a motivator. Okay.
Know your strengths, know your talents. Yeah.
Jokes aside, I like this. I like this because while, a lot of people going, why would this be item 3 on the cheat sheet? The reason this is item 3 on the cheat sheet is, to me, it is indicative of the attitude of the leadership of this team. And I think that with Dan Morgan bringing that intensity, bringing that drive, being the first GM to lock in his entire draft class to make sure that they don't have to think about it anymore, that they don't have to worry about it. There's no, I got to talk to my agent after practice and I got to figure out what I want and how to make demands and this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that. Instead of doing all that, what are the rookies for the Carolina Panthers doing right now? They are locked in. They are locked in on, how do I be the best rookie I can be? How do I help this team win? And I love that, because that to me stands out with the announcement yesterday that they're the first team to lock in their entire draft class. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, the Great One and I take a look up and down the weekend schedule of the sports calendar, pick out some of the things we are most likely going to put our entire world on pause to make sure we pay attention to. Then Evan Lee, veteran defender for the Greenville Triumph, will join us here on the show to wrap up this hour. We will kick off the next hour with a couple of big stories. 8:20, Tyson Jeffers, GM of the new Spartanburg baseball team. 8:40, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast. And then the 9 o'clock, it's your hour. It's a free-for-all. Whatever you want to get to, that's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Reload the beverage.
takes a little creep. Jennifer comes in every 3 years when her lease is up to get the newer and better model. And for some reason, pepperoni pizza sells like crazy on Friday nights. Who knew? At Odyssey, we have the expertise to get your media plan done right. With ads like you're hearing right now, to targeted social media campaigns, search engine optimization, and location-based advertising. Advertise with Odyssey and help us grow your business. Visit ads.odyssey.com.
Sponsored by eBay Motors. eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need at the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they're guaranteed to take your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply.
Take control of your listening experience with Rewind on the Odyssey. Missed a jaw-dropping moment? No worries. With Rewind, you can relive big moments from Rob Brown, Jim Rome, and more. Don't miss a beat. Just hit Rewind with the Odyssey app on the Odyssey. Always streaming wherever you are.
Yeah, definitely listen to Announcer Guy. Get the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Put it on your favorite digital devices, whether it's your cell phone or your tablet or your PC or whatever, and you can listen to the Fan Upstate anywhere you go. I happen to know right now there's a group of folks listening in Ireland because my mom's there. But shut up, she's awesome, and she's a fan. All right.
What? Why are you coming at people and telling them to shut up? No one said anything.
Oh, I get mom jokes all the time. That's what the fellas do, right? Don't care. She's the best. Anyway, you can listen anywhere in the world, including Ireland. Real quick, there's a commercial on TV right now, a great one, for a fast food chain that is doing a limited run of heart-shaped biscuits. You going out of your way to go to a particular fast food chain to get a heart-shaped biscuit? Is that a marketing ploy that's going to work for anybody? Heart-shaped biscuits.
I have heart-shaped box stuck in my head now.
All right. There is a discussion going on that was sparked, and we talked about this very briefly yesterday, sparked by Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle, after the Indiana Pacers lost game 2, and he acknowledged that there was a mixtape that the Indiana Pacers made of what they considered questionable calls that went against their basketball team. They said they sent in, and I quote, several dozen plays that they considered questionable. Now, before we get too far down the line, let me say that is standard practice. That is usually what teams do.
A mixtape is standard practice?
A mixtape of what NBA teams consider questionable calls being sent to the league office after every game is standard practice. And I will say that I'm very glad that it is. We should be working to clean up mistakes and call out issues, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I don't think it's going to matter all that much because much like all of the other leagues at a professional level, they don't do anything about it. I mean, the NBA probably does more than any other league, but it's still not very much.
They do what the other ones. Oh, our bad.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. They issue an apology. They acknowledge the mistake, which, if nothing else, I guess thanks for acknowledging mistakes. I guess I appreciate that.
It's the old R-Truth. You know, that's on me.
This was on me. My bad.
Official quote from Adam Silver. Damn, I got to get better at this. I was right there.
You took some of the better ones
And
that
then
I
don't
can't.
use them.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, because
Afraid I've got some bad news.
That one should be daily.
yeah,
That one should be
just
daily.
don't use the other one from him.
My loins have been tingling.
It's the best clip I have of my entire board. Nap.
That'll be great, man.
Second best clip I have on my entire board. Anyway, Carlisle was furious in game 2. There was a double dribble that was called against Isaiah Hartenstein. It was called back. He believes that it was called back because Tom Thibodeau asked them to. That was his justification. And don't get me wrong, I also disagreed with them taking the call off the board, but it was also a very questionable moment to undo the call. So Carlisle went on to say, quote, that's small beans compared to everything else. Small market teams deserve an equal shot, deserve a fair shot no matter when they're playing. And yesterday evening, I sat down to watch some playoff games. And I was in a group chat with a couple of my buddies, all basketball guys I used to hoop with back in the day. And one of them was listening to the show yesterday and said, Rob, do you genuinely think that small market teams get screwed? And I threw the same argument at him that I used on the show yesterday. I said, let me ask you this question. Do you believe that NBA superstars, television ratings guys, needle movers, do you believe that those guys get special treatment from the whistles? And after a little bit of goading, my buddy eventually said, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I think that is the case. And I said, then how is it that hard? How is it that difficult to believe that the same might be true for needle-moving teams? And in fairness, one of them had the exact same reaction that Lonzo had yesterday, which was, are the New York Knicks really a needle-moving team? Yes. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. There is a difference between successful and popular. There are a lot of things that are not successful that are popular, and a lot of things that are popular that are not successful. There are a lot of things that are successful and not popular. The New York Knicks are not successful but popular. They are successful this year. But there is a reason that during any given regular season week, there's a very good chance, or at least as good a chance as any other team, that the New York Knicks have a nationally broadcast game. Why? They own the second largest TV market in the United States of America, and it extends outward greatly. How can we prove that? Well, let's go back to game number 3 last night. Carolina Hurricanes taking on the New York Rangers. The Rangers in that same boat. It's been a while since the Rangers have been good. They are very good this year. They are so good that the Hurricanes limited tickets to games 3 and 4 just to folks in the Carolinas. You have to have a credit card based in North Carolina, South Carolina, or Southern Virginia to buy an initial release ticket. Why? Because the Rangers fans in these playoffs have been taking over barns one after the next. They haven't been good for years. And yet their fans are traveling like what to go watch their team play. If you're the NBA, I pointed this out yesterday, the nightmare scenario for you if you are the NBA, despite the fact that they are right now teams that we're very much enjoying. The nightmare scenario for the NBA is an NBA Finals between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. That's a nightmare scenario. Or the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Cleveland Cavaliers, although Cleveland's got a little bit more sway than Indiana does. I think I could be wrong. That's a nightmare scenario for them. Why? Because while it might produce a fantastic NBA Finals for those of us that are fans and don't really give a good gosh darn who's in the finals, there are a lot of people who watch based on hype. There are a lot of people who watch based on popularity. And those two teams, coming from very small markets, don't have it. But then, and I've got to give credit to one of the guys in the group chat last night that said, wait a minute, Rob, let's think about those two teams that you just mentioned. The Oklahoma City Thunder, now this was earlier in the evening before they lost the game. And I thought Oklahoma City was going to put that game over Dallas in the bag last night. That was before Luka decided to go vintage Luka Doncic on it. I thought that, and this is what triggered this conversation, was we were talking about our bets for the night. And I said, I'm not super confident in it, but I think I'm going to go Thunder money line. It's like minus 250, so I got to give a little juice. But I think they win the game. I think it's a close one. He said, wait a minute, Rob. You just made the argument about small market teams, yet here's the Oklahoma City Thunder that you think are about to take a 2-0 series lead over the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas is a top 10 television market. Dallas is a team that has some popularity to them. I said, that's a great point. He said, over on the other side, you've got the Cavaliers. You've got the Pacers. These are two teams that moved on against either larger markets or larger bandwagon fans. Let me be clear about this. I am not saying that the NBA rigs series against small market teams. I'm saying that I think there is, and this is one of the reasons, that to the chagrin of the great one, I am team AI ump. I am team robo ref. I am all for getting to a point where every aspect of every game is officiated by lasers and microchips and artificial intelligence. Why? Because it removes bias from the equation. And I think that, nope, I don't think. I think at this point it is psychologically proven that every human being has biases, conscious or not. Every human being has biases that you can say I put off to the side, that you can say I try my best to ignore, but it's hard to ignore. It's hard to do. Everyone has a bias, and that bias might be regional, it might be local, it might be racist, it might be sexist. Everybody has inherent biases. You know what doesn't? A robotic program that you've programmed not to have a bias. That's what doesn't have a bias. And I think Rick Carlisle has a point. Let's say that 20%, 20% of the calls that Rick Carlisle's Pacers sent into the office, let's say 20%, not 100, not 75, not 50, not 33, 20%, not even 25%, 20%. One out of every five that he sent, he has a point, is a mistake. In a year in which the NBA has been, as Lonzo pointed out earlier, writing a letter a day saying,
This was on me. My bad.
we blew a call. That would mean that in this series, through two games, there have been no less than 16 calls. 16 calls that helped the Knicks. 16. In games that can frequently be decided by 2 points. 16 calls. That's unreal. You ask me why I'm team robo ump. You ask me why I'm team AI ref. This is the reason why. Because when you have situations like this, and I'm reading through right now, and it is hilarious to me that there's a bunch of folks on Twitter. You got New York writers that are going, there's no bias, get over it. And then you got people from literally every other city in America going, yeah, we kind of see it too. Texture said, Rob, AI also has the bias of its creator built into it. That's why it's a team thing. This is why science works via peer review. You submit your idea, your evidence, your hypothesis, your conclusion, and then it has to be checked by 1,000 other scientists so that they can spot your bias that you missed. I want the same thing here. That's how science works. It's how sports officiating should work.
Appreciate AI texting in.
Yes. Stop the bias. Stop the bias against small market teams. I'm all in with Rick Carlisle on this. When we come back, Evan Lee, veteran defender for the Greenville Triumph, joins us as the Triumph return home for a game tomorrow night at Paladin Stadium. We will talk to Evan when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. That bumper goes kind of hard.
Yeah, and then someone had music on the liner, so I had to turn it down. Is he calling us?
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully, after I take a bite. Well, bro.
Charlotte Hornets have hired Celtics assistant Charles Lee to be their new head coach, giving him a 4-year deal. Download the Odyssey app and search The Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Tony Gazzieri, and that's your Sports Flash on The Fan Upstate.
All right, guys, we're going to step away just a moment to get Evan Lee set up, and then we'll come right back. Don't go anywhere. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and the Great Lonzo with you. Evan Lee of the Greenville Triumph will join us here in just a couple of moments from right now. Then at 8:20, Tyson Jeffers is the general manager of the new Spartanburg baseball team. They will reveal the name, the logo, the brand, the moniker tomorrow at a block party over in downtown Spartanburg. We are looking forward to having Tyson on at 8:20, and then at 8:40 this morning, we will be joined by Rashad Beard, the host of the Panther Nation podcast, coming by to talk a little bit of Carolina Panther football. First team in the NFL to sign their entire draft class. I gave you some thoughts on that earlier in the show. We'll get Rashad's thoughts on that coming up in about an hour from right now. But before we go to any of that, we go to the phone lines and welcome in a young man who has been with us on the show a handful of times, and he joins us one more time again as the Greenville Triumph gets set to take on Tormenta in what has become a bit of a derby the last couple of years. Veteran midfielder for our Greenville Triumph, Evan Lee, on the show with us. Evan, what's up, big fella? How you feeling, brother?
Hey, good, Rob. How you been?
Real good, man. Real good. Looking forward to get back in front of the stadium, get back in front of the boys coming up on Friday. How we feeling, man? I know that was a bit of a letdown loss in the opening match of the Jaeger Cup, which, by the way, is my favorite named tournament in all of sports. How the boys feeling getting ready for another USL League One matchup?
We're feeling good. We're ready. Obviously, the first one against Richmond going into penalties was a little disappointing. But whenever you go into penalties, it's kind of a toss-up, to be honest with you. So it is what it is. You know, watch the film, try to get better, and then, you know, Tormenta's been on a bit of a run recently. I know they just lost in the Open Cup to Charleston on Wednesday in the 120th minute. So they're very competitive right now, and it's the game that we're looking forward to.
I want to get into some X's and O's in just a minute, but I I think for me, the best part about sports is the emotion. It is the personal side of it, Evan. And obviously, you guys have developed a bit of a rivalry against Tormenta the last couple of years. There have been playoff eliminations. There have been some chippy games on both pitches, home and away. Do you guys, like as a squad, do y'all feel the same way? Is there a little something special when Tormenta comes to town?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's nothing that we openly discuss, but it's definitely something that we know whenever we play Tormenta, it's going to be a battle. And they're coming, they're going to throw some punches, and we have to be ready to take them and then throw a few of our own as well. So, yeah, there's definitely a little bit of added juice when we play Tormenta.
I like it. Evan Lee, veteran midfielder for the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. So I'm going to go a direction that I've talked with Coach Rick Wright about this. I've asked some of your teammates about this, and I want to ask you specifically because I think you have a particular angle in the conversation. One thing that is interesting about this team this year is I think you guys have maybe the most healthy mix of young and upcoming talent, guys like Zion, and a solid mix of vets, guys that have been here for the haul, you and Tyler Pollock, et cetera. How has that mix been for you on the veteran side as a team leader, as somebody who's been here from the beginning, as we try to grow some new talent, some fresh legs on the squad? What's that been like for you?
Oh, it's been awesome for me. Kind of moving into more of that elder player role within the team is something that I've cherished a lot. I think we do have a great mix of senior players and young players. And I think the best thing that this coaching staff has done is get guys that are at different stages within their career on this team. I think it's important to have that balance. It's important for the young players to see senior players who have been here, who have been around the block, whether it's just been in League One or the championship or MLS. It's really good to have those guys, not just on the field, because obviously those guys help, but I think it's more about off the field and teaching these young guys kind of what the day-to-day needs to look like and how you can improve. And something might seem so simple, but how to watch film, right? How to critically watch and take notes and digest things to improve your overall game. Because if you as an individual can improve your overall game, the team is going to do better. So it's really just helping these guys come along and then show them kind of a path forward. But then at the end of the day, it's up to them, right? Senior players can't make you do anything. At the end of the day, you have to do it. And so it's just our job to give them the tools to excel.
Rick brought that up, and it was really interesting, and I'm glad you hit on that point, Evan, because it was something that Rick really hung on as well, which is with the veteran guys, it's as much about the training room and the dressing room as it is game day out on the pitch, because at the end of the day, when you guys are out there, when there's 11v11 and Rick can't be out there kind of making every single point, it is what you do in the dressing room, it's what you do on the training field that's going to dictate what you do on game day. So how has that communication been? And I know there's even some new old guys like Sebastian Velasquez, but you've also got this group of young guys. How is the communication? Like, are they taking to the vets? Does it feel like these young guys are really kind of finding what the Greenville Triumph way is?
Yes, definitely. For sure. I think our young boys they want to learn. And so they ask questions. You know, Zion and Mo, they talk to Leo every single day. They pick his brain. They ask him questions. Daniel Wu in the back is constantly talking. I mean, he was here last year, but constantly talking to Brandon, constantly talking to Tyler. Hayden constantly talking to guys. Ben talking to Sebastian. I mean, guys are constantly in communication with the older players that play in their position. And I think the best part for me has been to see that these young guys don't have an ego. They understand their role. They understand where they're at, and they want to improve. There's no one that is trying to withhold information so that they're picked in the 11 and the teammate isn't. No one is doing that. Everyone is helping everyone, and we are really trying to push in the right direction.
I love it. Evan Lee, veteran midfielder for the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. The Triumph back in action tomorrow evening against Tormenta, 7 o'clock in Paladin Stadium. I want to get, Evan, to your thoughts on Rick Wright. Obviously, you were here throughout the John Harkes era. John had not just a ton of knowledge of the game, but kind of that celebrity side to it. Here comes Rick Wright, who has been in his back pocket, who has learned from him. But even from the stands, we've been able to see a couple of differences about the way Rick runs a team and the way John ran a team. Your perspective as a vet who was there for the long haul with John Harkes and is now in the Rick Wright era, what would you say are some of the bigger similarities, some of the bigger differences between the old regime and the new?
Yeah, well, first of all, John did a tremendous job helping create this team and this club, and this club is forever indebted to John. And John did a phenomenal job. That being said, Rick is absolute magic. He is absolute magic. The way that he manages people, the way that he communicates with us, and not just Rick, Mark, our assistant coach, is awesome as well. His knowledge of the game is very high level. I'd say with Rick, it's a bit more of a, I don't know if relaxed approach is the appropriate way, because that can come as a little bit negative sometimes. But there's a little bit more freedom. The guys feel a little bit more individual responsibility, which Rick has given to us, and he has told us on numerous occasions, this is your guys' team. This is not my team, right? Yes, I am the figurehead. Yes, I'm the coach, but this is your team. I am here for you guys. Whatever you guys need, I will do my best to provide for you. And when you have a manager like that, you're willing to run through walls for them. And I think that's kind of where Rick is with our team. And it's been very great.
Evan Lee, midfielder for the Greenville Triumph here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. You guys were white hot coming out of the gate. Have had a couple of hiccups, but not much. How do you maintain that momentum now that there's still some Jaeger Cup games down the line, but we've put the U.S. Open Cup behind us, not the way you wanted it to end, but a real tough draw for you guys scheduling wise. How is this team about maintaining composure and not getting too much in their own head if a couple of results don't go your way?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for us, the Open Cup is always awesome. It's a lot of fun, and it's a good measuring stick to see where you're at. But also, with a small roster that we have, it's extra games. It's more time on the field and playing and less time training. And so while, yes, that is fun and it's great, we also miss out on a lot of training sessions, because when we're playing Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, we're not really training that week. It's hard to really work on things. And with a little bit younger team, I think we need to work on things, right? Even if you have a senior team, you have to constantly be working. And I think being able to now be in a rhythm of kind of one game a week, I think that really, really helps us, and not just us, every team across the league, of course. But I think just staying in the present and understanding that the next game is the most important one. And we always focus on our performance, and we kind of live with the result. We believe that if we perform at a high level, it's going to be tough for teams to beat us. But that being said, it's football, right? Anything can happen. You could play the best game of your life and you can lose 1-0. That's just how sport goes. So never trying to get too high after a win, never getting too low, just trying to stay even keel and kind of roll with the punches. And when we get really good momentum, just trying to keep it.
Got another couple of minutes here with Evan Lee of the Greenville Triumph. Let's talk a little bit about this match tomorrow. Tormenta coming to town. Like you said, this is almost a bit of a derby at this point. It's kind of become a rivalry. These two teams, even with the changes in personnel, know each other very well. So how does this game break down to you? What is the approach? Is this a game you really want to turn the aggression on because it's a rivalry? How are you guys approaching this match against Tormenta tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to be aggressive. I think that's been a change in philosophy that Rick has brought to us. We high press a lot more than we've ever done in the past. We want to win the ball back in our attacking third, so we're closer to goal. So it's easier to score. We're not pressing to win the ball back. We're pressing to score goals. And I think that's very important to know and to understand as players. And also, they just played 120 minutes on Wednesday. So with travel, right? They were away at Charleston. Now they're coming here. And you can't underestimate the travel. Travel takes a lot out of you. And so, yeah, we want to get on the front foot early, hopefully get a goal or two pretty quick, and then kind of maintain the game from there.
Evan
But they're
Lee,
not going to come out and just roll over. They're going to come out and they're going to play aggressive. It's going to be a good one.
I love it. Looking forward to it. Evan Lee, veteran midfielder for the Greenville Triumph. Last one before we let you get back to work, big dog. I love talking about this because I think one thing in all my conversations with you and Tyler and the vets, with Zion and some of the young guys on the team, one thing that is obviously true across the board is we're all soccer fans. We all are enjoying the explosion, the growth in popularity in this game, not just nationwide, but really here in Greenville. Clemson soccer has won a national championship in the last couple of years. The Liberty are growing in attendance every single season. For you as a player, have you noticed that growth of the game across the upstate, across South Carolina, and what has been your reaction to that, if so?
Yeah, I have. I mean, it's been great. I think also with us, switching our training grounds over to Mesa, where CISA is kind of headquartered, and being around more of the community on a day-to-day basis, I think has really shown that as well. I mean, obviously you see bumper stickers everywhere, you see billboards everywhere, and that's something that's great. And it's our responsibility as players to help grow this game, right? Just as much as it's the Liberty's responsibility to help grow this game, right? We're all in this together. And yes, we are professional players, but we're also ambassadors for the game of football, and not just to ourselves and to our families, but to the communities that we serve. So at the end of the day, right, we're just entertainment at the end of the day. And we're just here to entertain people, try to give people a good night out. Win, lose, or draw, it's our responsibility to push this game forward, and it's something that we don't take lightly. And I think we're going to keep pushing to get more and more people in the crowd, because it's obviously the more people, the more fun it is for us. So we're trying to do our part and make this thing really take off and really make something awesome here happen in Greenville.
Evan Lee, veteran midfielder, Greenville Triumph. The Triumph back home tomorrow evening, where they take on Tormenta FC at 7 p.m. in Paladin Stadium. Evan, my guy, so good to have you back on the air, bud. I appreciate it, man. Let's do it again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rob. Enjoy the day.
You know it. Absolutely. We'll see you out on the pitch tomorrow. Evan freaking Lee. That's my guy, man. That dude's the best. Every time I see that guy, man, he's one of those cats that's never in a bad mood. And I'm going to say this. Guy might have the best hair in football. I mean, it's just, so it is always perfect. There's never a piece out of place. He's kind of got like the short, spiky look. Never a piece out of place. That man could play 120 minutes of football, and he comes off the pitch looking like he's ready for a photo shoot. It's infuriating. It's infuriating.
It's the kind of skill you're born with. You can't teach that.
You can't teach that. It is infuriating. He's the best, though. Love Evan. Great dude. Appreciate him joining us here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. You know what else I appreciate? The absolute skill, the absolute precision with which Lonzo delivers the sports flash.
I was also born with it. Georgia hit 5 home runs and scored 7 in the opening 2 innings in a 14-10 win over South Carolina Gamecocks baseball team last night. Carolina trailed 12-4 in the 6th before scoring 3 and adding 3 more in the 8th, but couldn't find more in the final frame. Game 2 in the series is today at 5:30. The Cleveland Cavaliers pulled even with Boston after a 118-84 win over the Celtics. We call that a blowout. Donovan Mitchell had another takeover game, scoring 29 with 7 boards and 8 assists, and all 5 Cleveland starters scored in double-digit figures. Game 3 is tomorrow night. Hey, tune in Monday for the Rob Brown Show as we welcome in your WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Damian Priest, ahead of Raw in Greenville, which is always a good time. Make sure you tune in Monday for that. It's going to be cool.
Oh.
Unique and unlike any other sports talk show. It's Bad MGM Tonight, Monday through Friday from 7 to 11, only on The Fan. Bad MGM Tonight is the red zone for casual and hardcore sports fans. Live sports betting updates for all of the night's games as they happen. Get the latest scores, sides, totals, props, parlays, futures, and much more with real-time, relevant sports wagertainment tonight at 7. Bet MGM Tonight, exclusively on The Fan and on the Odyssey app. It's the Rob Brown Show.
Mark Benetti, voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits here on the Rob Brown Show. Talk to me a little bit about Mordo. Talk to me a little bit about who he is as a coach and why he has been so important to what the Rabbits have become.
He is a detail-oriented man. He's a very intense man, especially when it comes to the game of hockey. Very rarely have I seen somebody take the game more seriously than he does. And it's exactly he has shown this with dedication to getting players out in the community off the ice to showcase even further there. He's a guy that gets it from the ultimate leader standpoint. When you look
Thanks,
at
Steven.
his hockey career, when he played in the ECHL, when he played in Target, he was a captain with Wheeling. He's somebody that when he became a head coach, he found a way to effectively lead men, and it led to 221 wins in Europe over 6 years. And then he came here and he has 155 wins in 4 seasons. I couldn't be more proud to work with a gentleman of his caliber.
Don't hit snooze. Friday, the Rob Brown Show. Now morning 6 to 10 on The Fan. Wire to wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Turn on, leave on.
I hear it every time now. I bet they never notice. Worst part about it is I bet I get blamed for it. If they do notice, they'll think I
Oh, 100%.
they'll think I put it
For the
together.
record, so did I.
I didn't.
I know, but it was my first reaction.
That's next level trolling.
100%.
Yeah,
That's why I thought it was you.
Yeah, but I also know when to pick my fights. At least most of the time I do. I guess maybe I just listen differently than other people because I noticed it right away. So
guessing the Pats thought they would get more, but the dude had to go, so they were going to take whatever they could get because all they got was a 6th-round draft pick.
Jim Rome in that jungle at noon. The Fan.
yeah, that's not going to work, Odie. Odie is telling me that I should demand you come on the show tomorrow. I think the hyped future meeting is just that. It's just hyped. It'll just be a whimper.
Buddy and I are going to end up being the tag team you never knew you wanted to go up against.
I ain't scared.
And here we go. Hour number 3 of the Friday edition of the Rob Brown Show starts now. Just
Why'd you act
like
surprised?
that.
Oh, wow. Look, we're in hour number 3.
Because for some reason in my head, we were starting the 7 o'clock hour. Despite the fact that we just talked to Evan Lee from the Greenville Triumph, who I knew was at 7:40. For some reason in my head, we were about to start the 7 o'clock hour.
We got 2 more big guests coming up.
We sure do.
I mean, you know.
We sure do. We got Tyson Jeffers, GM of the new baseball team over in the Berg, joining us in the next segment as they get set to reveal the name and the brand coming up tomorrow at their block party in downtown the Berg, Sparkle City. Here come the Dazzlers. Look out. Can't wait. I'm on board with the regiment as well. One of the two. I'm good either way.
It's not happening. Neither one of those are happening.
Then, coming up at the end of this hour, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast will join us on the radio program. Missed out on Rashad yesterday because he had his real job. Obviously, there was some overseas super secret spy work that had to be done.
Sometimes you get delayed. You can't make it back into the United States fast enough. It happens.
That's it. So we'll get Rashad coming up in about 40 minutes from right now. We'll talk Panther football with him. And then the next hour of the show, 9 to 10 o'clock, it's Friday free-for-all. It's up to you. Whatever y'all want to get to, I am good with on the show. But I figured here, let's just take a look at the weekend because I got to tell you, I understand for many of you, this is the off season. This is the downtime. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're a sports fan, there ain't no off season. There just ain't none.
Rob was doing air quotes. If you want to see him do air
Real
quotes,
hard,
you
too.
should check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or X because we're nearly almost always on.
Yep. Search the Fan Upstate on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. Search the Rob Brown Show on YouTube or Twitch, and you can watch all 4 hours of the show, all 5 days a week, every single week, unless we aren't here, which is rare, but it does happen sometimes. All right. Let's take a look at the weekend upcoming, and let's start with this evening's matchups in the NBA. New York on the road at Indiana. The Pacers, 7.5-point favorites at the house. Hayden Ass Mario trying his best to convince me that Indiana is just the home of basketball and that this is going to be the best home court advantage in the NBA, as if New York City does not exist. I do like the Pacers to win at home, though.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana, obviously a better venue to play in and where basketball was perfected. So, I mean, how could they not win against that overrated team that's never really done anything ever in the history of mankind? The only reason why they're famous is because they play in some arena that's named after that stuff that you don't want in your food. Because if you got MSG in your food, most people say, I don't want none of that. So, I mean, you know.
2 things. Number 1, good Asian food is not complete without MSG. It's not the same without MSG. If you don't have MSG in your whatever, your pad thai or whatever, you're doing it wrong. And Asian food, way up at the top of Rob's favorite genre of food.
By the way, I'm not dissing the food.
It's
I said
MSG in it.
some people don't like MSG in their food.
Second
That's
off,
all I
you are
said.
aware that's not Madison Square Garden they sprinkle in your food. Like, I know you are, but I feel the need to say it anyway.
It was me making fun of Madison Square Garden, Rob.
I don't know what MSG stands for. Now that I think about it, what is MSG? Monosodium glutamate.
Yeah.
You knew that?
Yes.
Attaboy. I had no idea. A food additive that tastes salty but gives food an umami flavor, which is considered the 5th taste. That's why Asian food with MSG is the best.
Taste.
It's made from the sodium salt of glutamic acid, which is found naturally, and from plant-based ingredients like sugarcane, cassava, sugar beets, or corn. How about that? We all know what MSG is now. Except Lonzo, who already knew what MSG was. Big smart boy. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Give me the Pacers at home and game. I am going to say the Knicks take game 4, though. I'm going to say Knicks. I think the Knicks right now. Let me tell you what the strategy is, because I've been thinking about this Rick Carlisle thing for a day. Can I give you my theory what might actually be happening here?
You can do anything. Your name's on the show.
That's true.
All right, almost anything.
I was going to say. Let me give you my theory. The Knicks are one of the most physical teams that we have seen in a very long time. They're wildly physical. Ton of hand checks, ton of body checks. When they box out really, really, really physically. Tough basketball team. Do you think, great one, that maybe when a team is as physical as the New York Knicks are, that bias that Rick Carlisle believes is true, the bias I think is true to a degree. Do you think that bias is maybe created by, if you're really physical all the time, you can't blow a whistle on every play, so we're only going to start calling the really physical stuff? Like, is this maybe less big market, small market bias and more the Knicks are constantly hand checking, constantly body checking, constantly throwing bows to the point that officials go, I cannot blow a whistle every time that happens. We'll be here all night and the Knicks will run out of players. Is that maybe where this comes from? Maybe this is less big market, small market, more very physical team versus finesse team.
I really believe that some of it comes down to the mood of the referees, and some of it comes down to, okay, if I make too many calls, I'm not making it out of here. Wouldn't that go in your head a little bit? And I know the professionals and they should feel safe, but in a hostile environment, you got to think that a little bit, wouldn't you? I know in your refereeing career, you were never in danger.
No, not at all. I was the most down the middle ref.
Soccer moms, though, they can.
Dude, soccer moms are terrifying.
Yeah.
New age soccer moms are terrifying. This hilariously, I remembered this morning. There was a video interview. Does the name Tim Donaghy ring a bell for anybody?
Believe is he out of jail yet?
I have no idea. I know he was in jail. And I know that Tim Donaghy, for those of you that do not remember that name, Tim Donaghy was the referee that got busted a handful of years ago to basically admitting to rigging games. He was the one. He was the one that really caused a lot of the controversy about gambling in sports. There was an interview that he did at one point where he was talking about a story with Allen Iverson. And he said that there was a game where Allen Iverson berated one of the referees on one of his crews, like berated the guy for not giving him a call. And he said the next game that we got with AI, the refereeing crew had a discussion before the game and they were like, we're not letting him get away with anything. Iverson was infamous for putting the hand under the ball on a dribble, right? And they said, we're going to call that. We're going to call that a travel. And for the record, it is.
You mean a carry?
Yeah.
Where he's carrying.
A carry.
By the way, Tim Donaghy is out of jail. But the first thing that came up when I checked for that was a quote from someone named Scala saying, if organized crime wanted to hurt Donaghy, he wouldn't be around today.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's the first thing that popped up. Yes.
I honestly, if there was some connection to that, then Tim Donaghy did the thing you're supposed to do, which is not open your mouth. You just take the punishment.
He ain't
you
no
just
rat.
Take the time.
He's not a rat.
Yep. You just take the time.
He's not like Carmine.
Yep.
Punk.
You take the time and they take care of you when you're out for eating the punishment for everybody else. Anyway, Tim Donaghy said, after AI berated one of the referees, the next time we caught him, we were calling carries, which never got called on AI. And we were not giving him ticky-tack fouls, and we were calling ticky-tack fouls on him. And Donaghy said at one point during the game, AI walked up to him and was like, yo, when is this going to end? And he said, what are you talking about? When is what going to end? And he said, AI just smiled because he knew he couldn't beat me. He couldn't beat us, right? That's the bias in refereeing I'm talking about. And I get it. If a guy comes over and berates you, you're going to want to get back at him. But that's the bias I'm talking about that impacts games.
Yeah, well, don't do that to a person who has power to make your what you're doing, your life, worse. It's like, do you go in there and intimidate the boss every day? I don't think you could. But if you could intimidate the boss, would you?
As I used to tell my teams back when I used to coach, and I actually probably will get back into youth coaching at some point. as I used to tell the kids when I coached, older kids, when I coached middle school and freshman teams. You know what the best thing you can do when a referee ticks you off is? Nothing. Take it back to the bench. Take it back. Go in. If you need to. In fact, I had a high school kid, a ninth grader at one point, that got kicked out of like 2 straight games for getting after a referee. And I sat him for the third. I'm like, nope, you're sitting out a game. And I said, let me tell you what you're going to do from this point forward. If you get to the point that you feel like you're going to explode on a ref, go in the locker room, grab a Gatorade cooler and throw it at a wall. And throw it at a wall over and over and over until you're over it, and then come back out and then check into the game, because you are never going to beat a whistle. You're never going to have a referee go, yeah, you're right, player. You're right. And because you're right, I'm going to it's not going to happen. Go beat up a Gatorade cooler and come back out later. This is why I've never had a problem like when a baseball player gets real mad and he takes a baseball bat and he starts beating the crap out of a water cooler. Good. That's fine. If that's what you need to do to get it out. That is why I'm fine. Not only does Patrick Beverly catching a 4-game suspension not enough for me, the man should be charged with a crime because he, committed one on national television. I'm fine with that. But if you're Rick Carlisle, as much as I actually agree with Rick Carlisle, if you are Rick Carlisle, do you know what you have just done to your Pacers for the rest of this series? You've made it that much more difficult to win because the refs feel like they just got called out on national television. Do you think they're your buddies now? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Denver's at Minnesota tonight at 9:30. Minnesota's 4.5-point favorites. Go Denver money line on this one, Zoe. Just a straight up win for the Nuggets. They can't drop another one, right? Right?
I'm reluctant to say anything, but don't turn your back on the Wolfpack.
Don't turn your back on the Timberwolf pack. I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta think Denver wins this game, but then again, maybe I'm overthinking it. Sometimes, as my guy PJ Glasser from the BetQL Network likes to point out, narrative bets are fun because they make more games entertaining, but sports is only great because of how often the narrative is broken.
When Cancun is calling, you can't fight the call.
Or when Serbia's calling, when your horses are calling.
Well, everybody else going to Cancun. He's going home to his horses.
So here's the thing. As much as we all love this, I don't care. This is just a job, but I'm going to be as good at this job as I can be, even if I don't love it. Narrative is from Nikola Jokic. I do think he wants to win. I do think Jamal Murray wants to win. I just think that, as we talked about after game 1 and game 2, Minnesota plays outside defense as well as any team in the National Basketball Association. They play perimeter defense as well, if not better, than any of the other teams in this league. They are exceptional. And what they have done is remove Jamal Murray from the equation. They have removed these guys from the equation. They have put it all on Jokic. And as we pointed out this week, in games where Nikola Jokic takes 25 or more field goal attempts, they lose more than they win. They are 4-6 in the last 10 in games in which Jokic shot 25 or more times. They are being outscored by 62 points in that last 10 games. That's not it. So I'm going to stay away from that game. Oklahoma City, Dallas, 1-1. Boston, Cleveland, 1-1. Who comes out of this weekend with those next 2 games on Saturdays? Who comes out of those 2 series with a 2-1 lead? Oklahoma City, Dallas, Boston, Cleveland. Which of those 2 teams, one from the East, one from the West, is holding on to a 2-game lead when they play again on Monday? I know.
I'm going to go with Dallas.
You think Dallas steals another one, puts the 1 seed in the hole?
I think a hurt Luka is a scary Luka.
I mean, he was last night. He did everything last night. By the way, we didn't even talk about the fact that my man got tripped up and went teeth first into the floor and stayed in the game.
It was, his face. I'm thinking, okay, he flopped, and then they show the replay, and his face hit.
Yep, hard.
He's got to learn how to take a bump better. It's just,
As somebody who was taking that flop and lost 2 front teeth because of it, it does not feel good, my man.
You also need to learn how to take a bump better. Well, maybe you have, because you haven't done that again.
I can go ahead and tell you where not to take a bump. Right on your front 2 teeth. Don't do that. That's real bad. That works out real poorly. Over in the NHL coming up this evening, we have a couple of games. Florida is at Boston. I'm going to tell you right now, Florida is the money line favorite in this game at -125. I'm going to go Boston on the money line. Boston right now is as tough as Florida is, and Florida has, as much as we've talked about Carolina, Florida's kind of embraced that outsiders mentality. They've kind of embraced that mentality of, we're the weird team. We're the team nobody thinks should be here. We play a different style of game. And the interesting thing there, Carolina, like I said in that game last night, I think was more concerned about their image, more concerned about their legacy as being a bunch of big, tough boys than they were about winning the hockey game. Florida incorporates that into winning the hockey game. And the thing is, with Boston, I don't think Boston is used to having teams hit back the way that Florida hit back in game 2. I don't think that they are used to teams taking shots from Brad, and firing back, punching back. And Florida did. I like Boston, though, because I think Boston in this game amps that up a little bit, catches Florida by surprise. I think this series is coming back to Florida, tied at 2 games apiece, and then give me Edmonton over Vancouver. Edmonton's just a better hockey team right now. Vancouver does lead the series 1-0. I think they were fortunate to get out of game 1 with a win. I think Edmonton is going to level this thing up. Coming up tomorrow, we got the Greenville Triumph at home tomorrow night, the Greenville Liberty at home tonight. I will let you know as soon as I find out where that game is going to be streamed. If you want to check in and watch a little soccer, or just come out to Paladin Stadium and watch either and or both of those games the next 2 nights. And coming up tomorrow night in Spartanburg, South Carolina, the name and brand reveal of the brand new Spartanburg baseball team. Tyson Jeffers is the general manager of that squad. He will be there for the reveal tomorrow evening. He will be here on the Rob Brown Show in the very next segment. We'll talk to Tyson a little bit about this block party, a little bit about where the team stands, a little bit about the name and the image that they landed on, and more. And we will do that all when we come back. Tyson Jeffers, GM of the Spartanburg baseball team, joins us in the very next segment of the Rob Brown Show, the very next segment right here on the Fan Upstate.
So if we want to, I think I just sent you something on Twitter.
Okay.
A fight, a breakdown fight before the show is over. Rob Brown Show. Hey, Tyson. We got a couple minutes left in this break, and Rob will be right back.
y'all. We're back. Thanks for being here.
That rail slide was a totally different thing, Steven. It was a different incident.
Yeah, that was the other time I fell and hit my head on the concrete.
That was a bad.
Things are becoming
a bad backward bump. Yeah, I mean, you should stick to the
I knocked
disc.
myself out for that one too.
You should stick to the disco bump.
I really should.
You probably could do that better. Maybe I don't know.
Flat back, boys. Flat back.
I should count that because I warned you.
anything.
But I warned you. You were about to.
Never said anything.
Why did I do that to myself?
Never said anything.
I could have been back in the game.
Could have been back in the game.
But instead, I was a team player.
I caught it.
No, you didn't.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming up tomorrow in Spartanburg, South Carolina, is a major event that is taking place. There's going to be a little party going down in the Berg tomorrow. And at that party will be revealed the name of the brand new Spartanburg baseball team. And joining us once again on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate to discuss that event, that party, is the general manager of the new Spartanburg Baseball Club. He is Tyson Jeffers here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Tyson, what's up, big dog? Been a minute. How you doing, brother?
Up? Good morning. How are you?
Living the dream, bud. How are you?
Living my dream.
I love it. I assume the answer was going to be busy as hell.
Busy as hell, yeah.
There it is. There it is. Man, you
Busy
guys,
as hell.
yeah, how's the last couple of weeks been? Like, I know that you've been out and about meeting other less attractive radio hosts in person doing interviews. I know you've been everywhere in the media the last couple of weeks. Like, are they giving you tonight off at least to get some rest?
No days off. No days off. Here's the reason why. It's because my career has been in baseball. So they're like, yep, Saturday's your opening day, but guess what? You don't have 60-something games to play after that, so you can do this. So no excuses on my end. I'll be here. My staff will be here. We're pumped about it. We're riding on all that energy that Spartanburg's pumped into us. So we're excited for Saturday.
So no seclusion. You're not hidden away somewhere so you don't slip in the final hour and let everyone know what it is before the announcement.
Yeah, I have a gag order right now, so I can't say anything, I guess.
I respect it. I want you to know, Tyson, the last time we had you on, we asked you, obviously, as I'm sure a million people have, and you gave me what I have called the most polite yet stern, absolutely not go to hell that I've ever gotten on the radio. And we made a promo out of it. It was so good. So well done, man.
I haven't heard it. You should play this for me. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, we might have to dig it up. Tyson Jeffers, GM of the Spartanburg Baseball Club, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. I want to get to the block party tomorrow, but obviously we want to update the folks about kind of where we are in terms of progress on the stadium, progress within the club as far as personnel staffing and all that. So could you give everybody just kind of a general update as to where you guys are as we get prepared for next baseball season and the debut of the club?
Yeah. Starting with construction. If you come on Saturday, I mean, we're doing the event right outside the fence of Fifth Third Park. So you can see the progress that they've made in the last several months. The entire lower bowl is almost completely done. They're about to start shooting the sticks up and building the suite and the club level. So it's all coming together, and day by day it changes in a positive direction. And knock on wood, everyone is telling me that they are still on time. So April 25, we'll open the gates and throw our first pitch. So that's exciting. Because of that and because of the pace and everything's looking good, we've gone live with season ticket deposits. So people can go to our website right now. It's SpartanburgProfessionalBaseball.com. If they're interested in season tickets, they can put a deposit down. That's going to put them on the list for us to call. And when we get the manifest locked in, we'll start reaching out to people and letting people choose seats. So things are moving along. And then Saturday, the name is finally out there. I don't have to make the Washington football joke anymore because we will have a name. So we'll have a name, we'll have a brand, we'll have merchandise, and we'll be rocking and rolling with all of that too.
Tyson Jeffers, GM of the Spartanburg baseball team here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. What has the fan reaction been? I know for at least in my experience, since we've been talking about it, since we've had you on the show a couple of times, and we asked the community, what do you want the name to be, et cetera. And we've gotten a real good response. A lot of people seem to be very excited over in the Berg from a team perspective. Now that you guys have opened up, getting your name on the ticket list, et cetera, how has the fan reaction been? What's the discussion with you guys from the community?
Yes, it's been unbelievable. I've said it from day one. I've never been in a market that's felt this energetic about something, especially about baseball and a team. So it's really harnessing that energy and making sure that we're doing good things for the community and servicing them. And I know that we're going to provide a great experience. And that starts with Saturday. Our goal with Saturday is to create an experience and entertainment that as closely models and replicates what we will do in Fifth Third Park, minus the baseball, but all the other pieces, including fireworks, will exist. So that's why I hope everyone has the opportunity to show up and support it and be part of it, because it gives them a little preview and a touch point of what they'll experience when we are playing baseball and we are opening the ballpark. Tyson
Jeffers, general manager of the new Spartanburg Baseball Club here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Let me tell you that something that jumped out to me, Tyson, and I, as somebody who has worked on both sides of the industry. I've worked in a club, in public relations, in marketing, et cetera. And now I work obviously on the other side here in the broadcasting world. One thing I appreciate about the upstate community is how important being involved in the community is to most of the professional teams in the market, whether it's the Triumph and the Liberty or the Swamp Rabbits. Like, you see them out and about doing stuff. The fact that you guys elected to throw a party around this name reveal as opposed to just a press conference, the fact that you guys decided to invite the community to come out and actually be a part of what I feel is a pretty big occasion, as opposed to just having a couple of television cameras to get the best angle, that seems reflective of kind of that same mentality and attitude. Does that rank high up on your priority list?
It's number one on the priority list. And yeah, when you do a live event and there's thousands of people sitting there watching you, it's a little raw. And when things screw up, people get to see it. So it isn't TV, and it's a little bit more real and personal. And that's important to us, because that's what we'll be creating at a baseball game and the things that we do around there and the other events that we host at Fifth Third Park. And the talking points of that and the things that we're really harnessing as a staff and as a culture internally is making sure that we are accessible and we're having our doors open. And the reason Fifth Third Park ends with park is because a park is a community gathering space that people can come together. So we want to embrace that. We want to embody that. And then for this to be our first major event that we can invite the community, we wanted to make sure that everyone knew that they were welcome to attend and be part of this monumental day for us.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's flip over to this party itself. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of what the agenda looks like, man? Because there's nothing better than a great block party. There's nothing better than a tailgate party. And it kind of seems like you guys wrap the two up into one event tomorrow.
Yes, sir. So 5 o'clock, the street will open. That's Daniel Morgan Avenue, right outside of where Fifth Third Park will be. It's between Broad Street and West Henry Street. So if you know the AC Hotel, it's right behind the AC Hotel. That entire street will be blocked off. It'll be filled with food trucks, drink vendors. There'll be a stage with live music, a DJ. There'll be things going on from 5 p.m. until we start the programming for the name announcement, which is at 7 p.m. And there'll be some thank yous and kind of the formal stuff before we get into the fun stuff. We'll show some never before seen vantage points and perspective of Fifth Third Park through the lens of a fly-through tour before we get to the name reveal. And we're working with some high school players to be the models of our jerseys. So they'll walk out and then imagine name. There'll be some theatrics that go along with that. After we announce it and show the brand, the walls of the merch tent will drop, and people can start buying T-shirts, jerseys, hats, all the little knickknacks that you can think of. And then part of that, we're working with Silver Crystal, and they do a lot with Major League Baseball and other professional teams, but they are the top tier customizers of jerseys, and they will be on site to put anyone's name and favorite number on the back of any jersey that they purchase. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, and some people might even just be coming for 9 o'clock when we shoot fireworks. So we will do what I call a July 4th-esque fireworks show, which is a super show, which is going to be pretty special and impactful. And again, wanted to incorporate the different experiences that someone might see at the ballpark into this event, and that's definitely one of them.
I love that. Tyson Jeffers, GM of the New Spartanburg Baseball Club here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Obviously, Tyson, as you have been exceptional at not giving us anything to work with over here. Not going to tell us name, color, brand, logo, whatever, but are you guys happy with where you landed on? Is it something that's caused some excitement within the team that you think is going to resonate with the fans as well?
Yes, 100%. And I think any good brand, when you look across, and I won't give any hints, but it's all about the layering. And yes, we service Spartanburg, and we are Spartanburg's team, and we service the upstate and this region. But you want a name that can have a conversation across the country and get people to ask why. And in some cases, it's why in a negative tone, and you get the opportunity to tell the story. And sometimes it's why in a positive way. So part of it is telling Spartanburg's story and history and having those touch points, as well as having a lot of fun. And the brand and the logos themselves embodying the personality that we as a team should have and the culture that we should create. And that's one of fun and of personality and of an excitement and of happiness and of family. So it's all about those things coming together and being a visual representation of that, both in the name form as well as in the logo form. And I think we achieved that.
So what you're saying is this is not going to be boring. It's not going to be.
I don't think it's going to be boring. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to. The worst reaction is no reaction to anything like this, is where you just get to shrug your shoulders and be like, you want people to be happy or mad. Either one helps. So like, even if you have a negative reaction, great. Like, at least you have an emotional reaction to something. It will create an emotional reaction, which is what we want.
Well, see, Rob is he's your emotional reaction guy. He will buy something from across the country because it's a lot of fun, it's cool, whatever. So people are going to be able to do that. They're going to look at this logo and look at this name and go, I got to have some of that merch, even though I don't live anywhere near South Carolina.
Yes, this is the goal of this brand, is to be a national brand, and our viewpoint of that is that spreads the story of Spartanburg and upstate South Carolina, and that's an important piece for us.
Tyson, is the main color hot pink? Just tell me it's not or it is. That's all I want. That's all I want. Is it hot pink?
Not hot pink. Maybe a shade of pink, but it's not.
Oh, no.
Yes!
No, look at
Yes!
Look, he said maybe. He said maybe.
I'll take a maybe, Lonzo.
He's not going to give it up now.
If you ask the pretty girl on a date and she says maybe, that's not a no, man. Tyson Jeffers, GM of the New Spartanburg Baseball Club. And I got to say, that's the closest we've gotten to any hints or information so
as far as you know. He's pretty clever.
Tyson, are you screwing with me?
I might be screwing with you.
There it is. I knew it. Man, see?
I might be, but there's always a might in front of it. So
it's not a no, but it's not a yes either. I like it. I like it. Spartanburg Baseball Club introducing their name, and are we gonna get mascot logo? Are we gonna get that as part of the brand reveal tomorrow?
There are characters within the style guide and what we've created. They will be characters that you see represented throughout the ballpark in our experience. We will introduce a mascot, a primary mascot, in the future. So that won't be tomorrow. That will come here in the next couple months. So give us another opportunity to do another event.
I have a new favorite couple words style guide. I mean, that's yes.
I'll see. My next question after that answer is: are you running for office next, Tyson Jeffers? That was beautifully well done.
Would you vote for me if I did?
I mean, if it depends on how good the logo is, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. So you can tell me on Saturday if you'd give me a vote.
Tyson Jeffers is the general manager of the New Spartanburg Baseball Club. Tomorrow, 5 to 9, right by Fifth Thirds Park. They are doing the brand reveal, the logo reveal, the merch reveal. Yeah, gonna need that. And then a fireworks display to cap it all off. Tyson, my man, appreciate the time, brother. Great to have you on the show. And we might have to run it back next week once everybody knows what it is to talk about it.
Let's do it. I appreciate you guys.
Anytime, bud. Anytime. Tyson Jeffers from the Spartanburg Baseball Club, the general manager here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Pink. It's coming. It's coming down the pipe.
He's messing with you. He's hit it all this time.
Wait.
Why would he give away a color at the no.
It's just one. It's like a little appetizer, like a little tease, like a little taste.
Yeah, he got you excited, but
He did get me excited.
I hope there's no pink anywhere near
I
it.
hope the whole damn jersey's pink at this point. Hey, when we come back, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast is going to join us to talk Carolina Panther football right here on the Rob Brown Show, right here on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, step it away for a minute while we get Rashad lined up. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Rashad Beard, what's up, fella?
What's going on, guys?
You all right, big dog?
Yeah, man.
That real job getting in the way of the fun stuff.
Sometimes.
So what you're saying is a spy game isn't fun, Rob, and I it looks like it's fun.
Just rather talk football.
Yeah, man. You know, spy stuff gets old sometimes.
Sometimes you just want to take the suit off and put all the gadgets away and just talk football.
Just want to talk football.
Yep.
Rashad, if you're interviewing a wrestling champion, what is the first question you would ask them? We got Damian Priest coming in Monday, who is the world heavyweight champion for WWE.
Familiar.
Rob and I will be short, which is it's a concern. Thinking about wearing some taller shoes. Because I will be.
You're not making up the ground from 6 foot to 6
No,
foot.
but I will be the shortest guy in the room. I don't. That's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I would ask him though. I've listened to a couple of kind of know a little bit about him already. I guess one of the questions I would have asked is kind of what he modeled his style after. I know it's Scott Hall, so I mean, I already.
I probably will ask that.
Yeah, maybe elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah. We don't know how to ask questions, so we're asking other people to tell us how to do that. So, yeah.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Coming up the next hour is a free-for-all Friday hour. Whatever y'all want to get to, I'm all good. But this segment, we normally do on Thursdays. However,
Hey, Rob, Do you think Rashad has a Dan Morgan stare in him?
Oh no, we're about to
You
find
think
out
he
because we're
does?
about to talk about Dan Morgan with Rashad Beard, the host of the Panther Nation podcast. Ordinarily joins us on Thursdays, but he was caught up gallivanting the world yesterday, doing important stuff, so he makes his appearance today. What's up, fella? How you feeling?
What's going on, man? Feeling good. Coming off a really, really busy week for PNP. So everything is good though. No complaints at all.
I believe it. I believe it. Watched a little bit of the draft review and the class breakdown and getting 89's thoughts on some of it. And real good episode, man. You guys are smoking right now.
Yeah. Good stuff going on with PNP. Like I said, we got, like you said, we sat down with Steve Smith Sr., the legend, greatest Panther of all time, in my opinion. It's humbling, really good guy, really good episode. And we also got a chance to sit down with Jalen Coker, undrafted free agent for the Carolina Panthers, with minicamp starting up. It's really important to get a hold of him before he got busy. So yeah, that was a couple things I couldn't talk about. Didn't want to jinx anything last week, but we had both of those happen. It was good stuff. Good, all good things.
I guessed 89 was coming back because the first one y'all did last year was good. I was like, 89's coming back. He's got to be. So good job. Well done on that. What was, and I'll ask you to tell the people, what was his hit? What was his miss? What was his high? What was his low from the draft class?
So I think one thing that was very interesting for me, and he kind of flipped me on, was Shaw Smith-Wade, the cornerback that we took. I was a little low on him. Called him a nickel and things like that. And Smitty was like, "Hey man, you gotta relax on this kid. He just learned how to play nickel at the Senior Bowl." Talked about some of his tape going back in the Pac-12, playing up against, or Pac-2 or 2-pack now. So he, again, hyped him up a little bit. And so that's a guy he really kind of flipped me on. Other than that, he kind of solidified Xavier Legette, talked about some of the things, and another thing we talked about was the Jalen Coker stuff, and he kind of leveled expectations regarding Jalen Coker and the chances of him making the team. We're all cheering for him, but it's a long, tough road ahead for an undrafted guy. So he kind of level set expectations there. It's a really good episode. I think that the what makes the dynamic so good between PNP and Smitty is that we come in with a fan perspective. He comes in with the real perspective. So he has access to information that we will never have access to. And so he kind of says, all right, guys, this is nice, but this is kind of really what goes on behind the scenes. And so this is why some of the moves are being made. So if you're, somebody wants to know a little bit more about the game and why some of the decisions are made, it's a really, really good episode. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Did he call you lazy on your own show? Because what kind of jerk?
No, he didn't. He did not. In fact, he gave me a lot of props. As a matter of fact, he said we did good work.
Must be nice.
By the way, Rashad, you can see it still hurts him. You see the pain?
Oh man, that's funny.
I did make a promo out of it, but I took the lazy part out. I took that part out because you already stung him once.
Nice call back there. That was great. Good work. That's great work right there. Work right there.
I'm good. I'm good at this. All right. If nothing else, I'm good at this. Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Let me give you a take I have right now and get your thoughts on it. Carolina, the first team to lock up the whole draft class, first team to get everybody under contract. That is something that I think a lot of casual fans like, okay, cool, whatever. That's great. To me, it's actually kind of a deal. It tells me that Dan Morgan was like, he's in the office, he's grinding, he's getting these contracts done. It takes a lot off the plate of the rooks, right? They don't have to be worrying about their agents. They don't have to be worrying about contract. That's all done. We can dial in on minicamp. A lot of rooks are going to start their camp without a contract underneath them. And I think that can kind of be a bit of a distraction. I actually think Dan Morgan gets some props, deserves some flowers for the fact that he was able to lock that class up this quickly, just not even a couple of weeks, and let everybody start getting dialed in on football.
Yeah, getting that entire class done is important. We've seen even last year, going back to last year, Bryce Young kind of held out. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a holdout, but it took him a little bit to sign. So getting the draft class done is great. I think that because you have a guy that was drafted later in the first round, and Xavier Legette, there probably isn't much contention. Again, great job. It is great to say, hey, we were the first to get our draft class signed, get that drama out the way, because guess what? Today is the day the rookie minicamp starts. So you want to keep your eye on football. You want to get going, get all the money talk out the way. And kudos to the entire front office, Brent Tillis. They're doing a great job, man. Things are trending in the right directions. Again, like you said, the casuals may not understand how good of a sign that is, but everything that we're doing so far, it just feels different. It feels like they're intentional about things. So all of it is trending in the right directions. All these little mini steps are adding up, and it's looking pretty good so far.
Oh man, hey, I was really overset.
So you keep playing. I can't hear Leggett without hearing some Leggett. I mean,
Glad
you know,
played it. I'm glad you played it because when you and I talked about Xavier Leggett the week before the draft, because I told you I think that's my guy, and that ends up being the pick. The week after the draft, we talked about him. I said on this show, and I hope it wasn't too lazy, that I think Xavier Leggett has got the body style to play a style similar to. I'm not saying he will be as physically dominant. We don't know. But to play a game similar to a DK Metcalf, can play the same style of game. And I've now seen a handful of evaluators and analysts that have kind of come aboard that train. Now that you've had a couple of weeks to process, to watch some game film, to ask 89 about it, where do you fall on the first round pick?
Yeah, I mean, even Smitty, according to his comps, he comped him to DK too. So I can't call you lazy. That'd be calling the GOAT lazy, and I'm never gonna do that. Never gonna do that. So he did comp him to DK, and it's tough not to, right? When he folds that jersey up and he just got the abs ripping out. Of course, you're gonna say, hey, this guy looks a little bit like DK. But I would say that DK, as of right now, is a little bit more mature in his route running. I would say that one thing that Smitty said was that as of right now, if you compare both of them in their current stages of their career, comparing DK to his collegiate career and Xavier Leggett to his collegiate career, he says Xavier Leggett is a little bit ahead of schedule. And so I think he has to develop the route running. I think it's all going to boil down to this. And it's so simple, but not so simple, because we've seen guys like Terrace Marshall come in here and flame out. Not to their, I don't think it's their fault. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's their fault at all. It's just due to the coaching changes and things like that, different directions. But we've seen guys like Terrace Marshall flame out. We've seen Mingo struggle a little bit. It's going to boil down to whether Dave Canellis can put Xavier Leggett in the best position to succeed. There are certain routes that he's good at, coming across the field, eating up zones. That's what he's good at. Yak, getting the football, letting him go. That's what he's good at. You have to get him the football early and let him develop those X skill sets to be able to beat guys deep and win off press coverage. He isn't quite there yet. So there is some development, but there are things he's really good at. And is Canellis going to get him in create something for him to get out there and show us why he's a first round pick?
That brings me back to something that Canellis said either the day before or the day after the draft. He was talking about BY, and he said the first step for me is to go work with BY to see what he is best at, what he needs work at, and to help him work on the things that are weaknesses, but make sure we cater our offensive plan to his strengths. That kind of seems like a Canellis philosophy. And so that if that's your concern, it's just one more reason, I think, to get excited about Canellis. Like, I know all of us are kind of, and you've said this 100 times on this show and your own, you're tempering expectations until you get something, but we're also fans, dude. Come on. Like, we're not gonna have zero. Canellis's philosophy seems to be play to the strengths, emphasize the strengths. And if that's the case, I think BY to XL could be a phenomenal duo.
Yeah, and you see what Canellis has worked with over the past couple of years. You know, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, DK Metcalf himself. So if anybody knows how to use a guy with that similar skill set, it's going to be Dave Canellis. And so I hope, here's what I'm hoping though. You got to remember, XL has Deontay Johnson in front of him. He has Adam Thielen in front of him. So let's not expect him to go out there and have a 1,300-yard season, right? We are going to be a run-first team. There's going to be opportunities for XL. Will he take advantage of them? I'm sure he will get plenty of opportunity. But let's not put a 1,000-yard season on him and say, oh, that's the benchmark he needs to hit in order to be a successful first-round pick, because that's not the case. I think that it's going to be a development year for all these guys, and that's okay because they have great talent that's going to teach them the ropes ahead of them. Guys like even Jonathan Brooks, you bring in guys like Rashad Penny, Chuba Hubbard's balling right now. We don't need Brooks to be out there and be the next eye compliment to Arian Foster. We don't need that from them. But over the next couple of years, let's get them to develop and eventually become those guys. That's what I'm looking for from Canellis. We have to develop. And that's what we haven't done over the past couple of years.
I'm glad you brought up John Brooks. I actually did want to ask you about that because Lonzo's been hanging on the run first team moniker for since I got here. And that's fine. That's what this has been. And I'm saying not saying it's always got to be that way, but for now it is. My prediction about the season was we're going to get to 7, week 8, week 9, and we're going to start getting calls from people going, why did we draft a guy like John Brooks if we're not going to play him? And my thought is, not only do I want to give the guy plenty of time to get his ACL right, because he's young enough that it can be recovered from, but I want every bit of time that we can give him. But if you're going into this year knowing it's a developmental year, that is included for Jonathan Brooks. I think there's a role for him on this team. I think there's XP for him to be gotten in this season. But he's coming in as RB3 at the absolute best. And that even depends on if Miles Sanders has some sort of renaissance this offseason. I wonder what the role is, though, like what the quantity of carries John Brooks might have is and what his role on this team is, in your opinion.
Yeah, I think he's going to progress. I think it's going to be a little while before we actually get to see him fully get the brunt of carries. Now, one thing I will say about Brooks is he has a skill set that these other guys aren't good at, and that's catching out of the backfield and a blocking back. He's really good in pass protection out of the backfield. That is what prevents a lot of rookies from getting on the field early is pass protection. And I said that during this show with Smitty. So I think that, again, like you said, we got to give him time to fully heal. And that's why I was a little off on the pick. I really didn't agree with, spending that much capital, second round pick on a guy that's going to sit. But I do think the talent over the next couple of years eventually he'll be RB1, right? He's going to work his way into RB1. He's got to be healthy. He's really good. It's shifty out the back. It makes the first guy miss. I think he had like 700 something yards after contact. So he's really good. And I listen, we're just gonna have to wait for it. I think Chuba, we're in good hands as far as running back position, so I'm not worried about it. But I think over the course of the season, you're gonna see him get more and more integrated into the offense, and hopefully we'll get some of that CMC love out of the backfield when it comes to reception.
60-second answer. We're up on the clock. We got you got somebody in the chat right now said develop. Grandizer 12 said develop the 3 to 5 year project. I might be optimistic here. Talk me back if I am. I don't think it's 3 to 5 year project. I think it's 3 at most. I think you've got the talent now. I think you've got a coaching staff, or at least a head coach that understands development, and I think has really put all his chips in that basket. Yeah, it's going to take time. And I don't even think it's 2 year, but I think 3 years from now, Carolina's competitive in this division. Not competitive in, Carolina's at the top of this division with the talent they've built.
Yeah, I think so. I think 3 years is conservative. I think that's a good enough answer. But I will say this. I think things were so bad last year that, around Bryce Young, that I think we're going to be a little bit better quicker than folks think, right? I think that things were just so bad, inept, right? I think that it was so bad that all we needed was a competent individual to come in here and be able to coach and get things going. So I think, personally, I'm not saying we'll win the division, but I think we'll be much more competitive quicker than people think. So that's my 60-second answer.
Hey, Rob, remember he said he's going to be real? That optimism is creeping in. It's creeping in.
Listen, when you get a little bit more information, sometimes I'm starting to feel it. I think it was so bad last year, just based on some things that I've heard, that I think we're going to be a little bit better, quicker than people think.
As a result of not being lazy.
You're not going to convince me. You're not going to convince me yet, but the more excited you get, the more excited I might get. I don't know.
I'm trying.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, go to the YouTube channel, get subscribed, turn that notification on. They're live all the time, including, if you have not seen it yet, their draft class review with all-time Panther legend Steve Smith. I watched a chunk of it. It is phenomenal. Going to finish it up over the course of the weekend. What you guys got coming up this week?
Yeah, please go over there and support that. That's a great thing. The Steve Smith Senior interview. It's becoming an annual thing, so check that out. A lot of stuff going on. We'll recap mini camp. We got the schedule reveal next week, so we'll be live during that. It's a lot going on. You got to come over. Going out there today to check out the rookies, not watch them, but maybe grab a couple autographs, give them away. I do a lot of giveaways on the channel, so maybe XL jersey, maybe not. I don't know. You just got to come over and see. A lot of good stuff, man. PNP is where it's at. If you want that Panthers content, like and subscribe, all that good stuff.
Don't be lazy. Subscribe to
Don't be lazy.
I'm not. It's going to be a little minute.
That's a new tagline. I got to use that one.
Yeah,
you got to get over this. You really do. It's
ain't happening. I thought that was my guy. I thought that was my guy.
Therapy. We'll get him some therapy. It'll be all right.
Rashad, appreciate it, big dog. We'll talk to you next week, man.
Peace out, guys. Thank you.
Later on, Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast. Again, you can follow them on Panther Nation PC on Twitter. You can also make sure you subscribe to their YouTube channel, Panther Nation Podcast. He is back next Thursday.
Maybe you're trying to make him feel all guilty and everything. I hope he doesn't feel guilty.
I brought that back up, and that man laughed like an idiot in my own face.
No, he has a beautiful smile and a beautiful laugh. I don't know what you're doing.
It's
he
frustrating.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. And he burned me to a freaking crisp.
Your
on my own
your
show.
take right there was lazy.
Rashad, I love that guy, man. I love that guy. You know what else I love? When Lonzo does sports flashes. That one was lazy.
Yeah, that was pretty lazy. This won't be, I hope. Georgia hit 5 home runs and scored 7 in the opening 2 innings in a 14-10 win over the South Carolina Gamecocks baseball team last night. Carolina trailed 12-4 in the 6th before scoring 3 and adding 3 more in the 8th, but couldn't find more in the final frame. Game 2 in the series is today at 5:30. Game 2 of the Mavericks Thunder series went Dallas's way with a 119-110 win last night. Luka Doncic looked more like Luka, scoring 29 and adding 10 boards and 7 assists, despite being hobbled with a bad knee and just getting beat up all the way around. PJ Washington scored 29, 11 boards. Game 3 is tomorrow evening. Hey, coming up Monday right here on the Rob Brown Show, we are going to have live in studio WWE heavyweight champion Damian Priest ahead of Raw in Greenville. So if you have any questions, make sure you send them our way.
Yeah, we did the quarterback fantasy rankings the other day, and BY was like 31st and behind.
It was 30th.
30th. And he was
Something like
behind,
that, yeah.
I think all of the rookies except who was the one? He was ahead of one rookie. He was behind JJ McCarthy. And granted, a lot of that has to do with the teams they're on and the weaponry they have. JJ stocked with weapons. Caleb Williams obviously stocked with weapons. But you got to imagine that drives him a little bit.
I appreciate it, Stephen. I really do. So my plan to do them really poorly so the boss tells me to stop doing them is just not working.
Find us at comparinginsurance.com. Comparion Insurance Agency. Local agents, expert advice.
And there's number 4.
When it comes to the best sports talk anywhere, it's all going, man. Listen to the Fan Upstate on Odyssey, no matter where you are, in the car, at home.
This has been an extremely busy Friday.
It has. It's the troposphere.
That's what it is. Hour 4, you remembered. Way to go.
Tropospheric propagation.
That's also a very good word. Yeah.
Propagation is a good word.
He was so happy finally we heard that excuse forever. That's why he was so
He gets to
happy.
really use it.
He was, yeah.
Oh man, I was really over sad.
That'll be great, man.
Xavier Leggett.
Surprised you don't have some Keon in there.
I got to tell you, I went through. Here's my thing. Keon's so bouncing off the wall. There's not really like one clip other than I'm Tiger Wish He Could, not Tiger Woods, which I absolutely loved.
You should.
Absolutely loved. Oh, no. It's a 2-goal lead for Rob Brown headed into the fourth quarter.
It's all right. So we're going to have to fight. That's what we're going to have to do. Because I know I'm losing. I might as well, make you remember me.
I blame it on tropospheric propagation.
Yes.
That's
I'm going to go with that too.
Yeah,
I'm really hazy, like the sky outside. So yes. But not because of anything synthetic. I don't know.
I'll say you can't see the chemtrails today.
I am not very lucid today.
Tropospheric.
Don't do it.
Propagation. All right. Let's get to some stuff. Here's just a fun thing. It's Friday. I don't care. Here's a fun thing. Or not fun if you're this guy.
I'm just so glad you're not doing that thing that you were doing last week at this time.
Last week was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was also this day last week at this time.
It's a long time ago.
Good. It's not going to be a thing anymore. I'm not going to.
Oh, you talking about Friday? Yeah, yeah. It's Friday.
At least you're not saying that other word.
Tropospheric propagation?
No, that's been.
Okay.
I prefer that over the one that was prevalent throughout this week. Look at him racking his brain. What was it? What was it? Start with a G.
Gears are spinning. I got nothing. What word?
I'm not saying that word. It has to do with hot dogs.
Oh, glizzy.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm getting a glizzy today, as a matter of fact. That's my lunch today. Getting a glizzy.
Are you allowed to do that?
Hitting the Costco glizzy.
Come
on,
come on.
No, I'm not. I'm not getting a glizzy today. I really do want one, though, now that you brought it back up. Hey, all right. So, Free for All Friday, last hour of the week. You guys are in charge. Tell me what you want to talk about. We'll talk about it.
Can we not do that?
Hey, Stone Man.
Wow.
Thanks for doing that on the stream, bud.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. This is noted Greenville.
Hey, why
fan.
don't you give him a double because he needs it today.
You need it today?
He needs a double. Yes.
You having a bad day, are you?
Well, now I'm not. Now that
He's having a grumpy day. That's what he's having.
Don't be grumpy.
I can't help it. I can't. It's just my nature. All right.
That's done out of love around this building.
I know.
Yes.
There is no way to tell a bro you love that bro like the random sporadic bird out of nowhere.
I know how this is going to sound and everything, but he smells nice. I don't know what he put extra on. It's all the way over here, whatever that is. It's probably expensive and British.
There is a guy that, and this is something I've done before. It's just for the funsies. There is a cat who made a series of prognostications, took out a futures bet on all of the world champions across the major sports. He took out a parlay that involved correctly selecting the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, the Texas Rangers to win the World Series, and the last parlay bet that he has is the Oklahoma City Thunder to win this year's Stanley Cup. Now, when he made this 3-leg parlay, all put together around the champions, the odds came out to be something to the tune of like 11,000 on the plus side. He's like plus 11,000 in his odds. He threw down $100, and if this bet hits, if the Oklahoma City Thunder were to win the World Championship at odds of, the odds are plus 1,714,500. If the Oklahoma City Thunder win the NBA World Championship, great one, this guy will receive a bet payout of $1,714,600. However, if the Oklahoma City Thunder do not win the NBA championship, he will receive $0. However, again, the company that he placed the bet through offers a cash out option. A lot of books will do this. They'll offer the option to back out of your bet at any point, and they will give you a prize equivalent to if you won the parlay and that leg wasn't involved. So, because he correctly predicted the Kansas City Chiefs and he correctly predicted the Texas Rangers, if he was to cash out right now, he would cash out for $100,000. So great one. My question is, you're in his shoes. You can ride with the Thunder to an NBA championship that if they win, you receive just shy of $2 million, or you can cash out right now for $100,000. What are you doing?
See, this is like being on that game show where you can leave now or you can go for a bigger prize. And if you go for that bigger prize, you're going to lose everything. Have you watched a game show and thought, what would I have done? And that's the question you're asking me now.
It's kind of deal or no dealish, right?
How Oklahoma City is playing right now has to factor into it, doesn't it?
I think it does.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear your answer, but I'm probably sticking with it and going forward. I'm not walking yet.
I'm cashing out, man.
Are you really?
I'm cashing out. I absolutely.
The amount. Well, we've seen how many times I've lost bets, so that's no surprise there. But if you ride and you let it go, think of how much money you can make, though.
Correct. And think about right now, if I handed you today, if tomorrow I got that call for that $5 million a year job, and I, Lonzo, as a thank you for all your hard work and dedication, just stroked you a check for $100K, how's your life change?
Well, I could pay my car off, and I'd be pretty excited about that.
Would be pretty exciting, wouldn't it? And you, I'm assuming, have a little bit left over. Yeah, a little, just a little.
You're assuming.
Just a little.
You're assuming. Probably just a little bit.
Just a little left
Maybe
over.
enough to go out to eat or something. Yeah.
That would be a life-changing amount of money for the overwhelming majority.
I don't know if 100,000 is life-changing, but it's definitely a next year changing.
Lonzo's out here burning $100K a year. I respect it.
Yeah, well,
he is a baller, shot caller.
No, what I'm actually, it could be life-changing because I could probably pay off all the bills that I have with $100,000. Yes.
Which is by definition life-changing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know
and then everything else is just,
even if
fun money.
Even if you just used it to zero out your debt, that's life-changing.
Which
That's
is exactly,
I
mean, it may be very unusually mature of me, but that would be the first thing I would do.
100%.
Yeah.
Because now I can start putting stuff away for later, right? Like $100,000. And here's the thing.
Yeah, later looking kind of bleak right now for me. So yeah, definitely, I'll be all right for it.
Imagine, great one. You decide that you're going to ride with the Thunder. You're going to ride the Thunder to an NBA championship game. Imagine they get by Dallas, who, by the way, beat them last night on their court. On their court, the stress level, by the way, and I just looked it up. Just looked at the update. Had he cashed out before last night, it was $100,000. If he cashes out today, it's $75,000 just based on one.
Man, that thing is dropping. Oh.
But if Dallas gets game 3 on the road at Oklahoma City, or if Oklahoma City gets game 3 on the road at Dallas, I'm guessing it's probably going to come back up to the region of like 90,000.
How much does it drop if Dallas goes up 2-1?
Probably down to like 25.
That much?
I believe it.
Wow.
Would. I believe it would drop somewhere. I'll say 33.
So that decision basically has to be made today.
By tomorrow night. You've got till tomorrow night to make the decision. Do you cash out? Now, again, I think here's what I will say. I'm probably committing to letting it ride one more game, but no further. No further. Because if they lose the next game, I think it comes down to around 30. And I think as much as it seems counterintuitive, if it got down to around 30, I think I'm immediately cashing out. I do. If they go down 2-1 to Luka Doncic, I think I'm immediately cashing out at that point, even though I do think they are going to win that series long term. But man, I'm going to tell you right now.
Does this make you want to try something like this as far as the bet goes?
For the record, I do every now and then put together like a 7-leg parlay that comes to, plus 2,600, and I throw $10 at it. If I can turn a $10 bill into $400 or $500 by going, one of the ones that I like doing in the NFL, and I've come within one game a couple of times, is great one. I will pick every game in a weekend where the odds are like both teams are -110, where the spread's inside of a field goal. If it's like every game that is -1, -2, -2.5, I'll take all those games. There's usually 4 to 5 of them. And there is a bet that you can make that no team will score 3 consecutive times in the game, which kind of sounds like a good bet. You would be shocked how infrequently that happens for a team to score 3 consecutive times. Any combination of field goals, touchdowns, and safeties. For a team to score 3 consecutive times, you usually get plus money odds. You usually get somewhere in the neighborhood of like 135, 150. If it's a if it's a blowout game, like if you've got a team that's, -10.5, then you'll get a minus money. But I usually pick any game that's a one, not even one score, like a field goal or less difference. I will parlay all of those together, get myself odds of like plus 1,200, plus 1,300, and then put a 10 spot on it and let it ride. I have not hit that parlay yet. I hope I do one day. I have not hit that parlay yet, but if I ever do, it's going to cover up all those bets plus a profit in the long term. I have never done a championship parlay like this one, mainly because I don't have the patience for it. You're talking about a bet that, imagine hitting leg one. Imagine you correctly predicted the Texas Rangers to win the World Series, and they do. And then you correctly pick the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, and they do. And then imagine that you pick the Thunder and they don't make the playoffs in the NBA, right? Like you just locked up that bet for however many months to then get bummed out by that. Like I don't have the patience for it, unfortunately. If I'm building a stupid parlay, which I do every now and then, it's fun. We build parlays like every year we do a Super Bowl party, and we build a parlay for that Super Bowl party every year. Last year, one of the most electric sports moments of my life. Last year, we had a guy, not this past Super Bowl, but the one before. We had a guy in our little friend group that talked us all into making the bet, will there be a doink in the Super Bowl? A field goal or an extra point that hits an upright. Will there be a doink in the Super Bowl? And just about every dude in the room said yes. One guy made it the final leg in a parlay. Now he went with a real lame parlay, right? Kansas City money line, which was like minus 180 or something. Patrick Mahomes to have over 150 yards passing. That's like minus 350. But he built this parlay, and then he stuck will they be a doink, which was like plus 375 or something. He stuck that on the end of it, and it skyrocketed his parlay from like plus 250 to like plus 2,700. And there was a doink. There was a doink. In fact, I think Bucker hit the upright on an extra point. There was a doink. And I thought the roof of the house we were in was going to blow off from the just pure electricity of every dude in the room winning the bet of will it be a doink. And this cat throwing $100 at like a plus 2,500 5-leg parlay, of which the last leg was, will there be a doink? And there was. So every now and then I'll do this, but I'm going right now. If I got 100K riding, or if I got 100K cash out guaranteed or I can ride the Thunder to an NBA title for $2 million. As much as $2 million would be life-changing, $100,000 is taking care of you for at least a couple of years. I got to hit the cash out button. You're letting it ride for the $2 million on the Thunder with the Celtics out there, with the Knicks out there, with the Nuggets out there. Hell, with the Timberwolves playing the way they're playing right now. You're riding with the Thunder for $2 million. I like it. I like the Stones. I do. Let's see. We've had a couple of y'all that have texted the show so far. You taking that or not? Texter says, I'm writing it one more game with $75K, but anything over $100K should be a cash out unless you are legit confident or way too cocky. Yeah. Do you wait for them to win too? Because if they go up, let's say they win both of them on the road. If they go down to Dallas and they get both games, it's probably coming up closer to 200,000. But if they lose game 3, it's probably dropping like a rock down to 25.
Yeah, I think game 3 is a pivotal point.
You letting it ride for game 3?
Yeah,
sure?
I'm letting it ride for 3. They lose game 3, then I'm out. So, I mean, at least I'm coming away with something.
See, it's funny. I'm the exact opposite direction. I think I'm letting it ride for game 3. If they lose game 3 and I'm right, and it drops down to 20K, now I'm letting it ride. 20K is a vast sum of money for those of us that don't just have investment accounts. 20K is a vast sum of money. But 20K is not life-changing. 20K is not life-changing. 20K is, a good amount of money. You could pay off some debt. But I'll be real, with the car payment, I would not even be out of debt from my car with 20K. I would still have to make a car payment after that. I think that I would if it gets to 20K because they lose game 3, I'm not touching it until they win or lose this series. I would rather lose 20K with a chance to get $2 million than take 20K and then have them go on a rampage.
20 get me out. I'm down to below 20. So yeah, 20 would help me a great deal. Yeah.
There you go. All right. What do you
the biggest payment I have per month or week
is off the book
is my car. Yeah.
For sure. But like I said, my car is brand new. It would not even get me to that. I would not even be done with that. So I don't think I could do it. I don't. All right. It is a free-for-all Glizzy Friday. So what do you want to get to? What do you want to talk about? Shoot me a text right now, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. You can join us on the live stream and drop your comments in the live stream chat, or you can shoot me a tweet at The Rob Brown Show. What do you want to talk about when we come back on a free-for-all Friday? It's up next on The Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. For the record, I had totally forgotten about Friday.
Yeah, I did it to myself.
All right. Be right back, guys. Give me just a second.
I got that other project I need to finish. So, although I found my beginning and my ending for that, I just need to fill the middle and get some music. since I took that project on late, I don't.
Yeah.
The deadline doesn't apply. So just because someone ain't here doesn't mean they can't manage from afar.
From afar. From a distance. Ooh.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping Americans fix their IRS problems.
I don't know why I'm sleepier today than I was yesterday. It's weird.
Today by visiting us online at tra.com.
Actually, I do know it. Relief from pain that come with the weather. Suddenly, you're not feeling that pain, and you're like, you know what? I could sleep right now.
USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise. No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structure. It's just easy.
Well done. Well done, Jonathan. Well done.
See that.
That's a dad joke, right?
That is a dad joke and a
Okay.
good one. Do you know why the Norwegian Navy has barcodes on the side of their ships? So when they come back from a mission, they can Scandinavian. Scandinavian.
No, that's, I get it.
It's a dad
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah. Okay.
And a good one. Pace just released ghost pepper habanero salsa.
Is that the thing that
That's
Chris?
the bleep you hot pepper.
The thing that
He
Chris
sent
sent
us
us
ghost pepper
yesterday.
cheese. And
Yeah.
I absolutely want to try it.
Yeah. No, I want to. I just shouldn't. Yes.
Free for all Friday, whatever you want to get to on the show today, we will do it. Texter said, Rob, golf. I'm trying to get into it, and if it's worth going to the BMW Pro-Am this year. I will tell you it is. I will tell you I've gone every year since I moved here, and I will tell you that I have had a blast every year. It is phenomenal. It's a nice course that you get to go walk. You get to walk the whole course. The celebrities, most of them are very cool. Most of them are very cool. I'm a huge fan of The Office. Last year, we had Brian Baumgartner on. He, of course, played Kevin Malone. He was fantastic. I did not have him on, but Andy Buckley, who played David Wallace, Michael Scott's boss for the majority of the show, was one of the nicest people I've ever met, took time out of his day. In fact, he's one of the few I actually asked to grab a picture with because he was such a legit dude. Loved him. Canelo Alvarez. I'm going to tell you this story real quick. Canelo Alvarez, who just had a huge fight, and like 3 weeks later is going to come up here and play some golf. Canelo Alvarez was fantastic. Canelo Alvarez was signing every picture, signing every autograph, taking every picture. I'm good at this. That everybody asked him to. In fact, when he finished his round, because boxing is obviously huge in Mexico, when he finished his round, there was a very large contingent of Mexican fans who were waiting for Canelo Alvarez. I'm not kidding when I say there were 500 who were there to see Canelo Alvarez. This dude walked through that crowd, Lonzo, and was in that crowd signing autographs and taking pictures for so long that not one, not two, but three more groups came off of 18 and passed him going to the clubhouse. That's how long he stayed with the people out there. It was unbelievable. And most of the Larry the Cable Guy, spectacular dude. And if nothing else, you got to go see his Toe Mater golf shoes that he wears. They're fantastic. Larry the Cable Guy, he was phenomenal. It's an incredible event. It really is. And I will tell you that in a point in time where the PGA Tour is doing a fan-freaking-tastic job of making their product difficult to watch, difficult to enjoy because of all the drama going on between them and the Live Tour, them and the Saudi PIF, etc. I got to tell you, I have been paying more attention to lower level golf and other level professional golf than I ever have before. I will tell you right now, I'll be watching the Founders Cup this weekend as Nelly Korda goes for LPGA Tour record win number 6 in a row. And I'll tell you, as a golf fan, I very much suggest you, as much as I'm going to be suggesting starting next Tuesday on opening day for the WNBA, that you check in with them, check in on the LPGA Tour. Let me tell you why I think, and it may be even more applicable than the WNBA. Let me tell you why I would tell you watch the LPGA Tour. Because while it is absolutely fun to watch Bryson DeChambeau bring out the big stick and absolutely cork a drive, it is, to me, not as entertaining as it used to be. And the reason it's not as entertaining as it used to be is because how many of these cats are now going on a par 5 driver 7-iron and getting on in 2? Where's the challenge in that? A par 5 is like a par 4 for me for these guys.
So you're saying the course should be extended because bigger, faster, stronger has made its way into golf?
No. What I'm saying, because I don't think you can lengthen the courses much more. The courses are hitting all-time highs. I think what the PGA Tour is doing as far as equipment goes is the right thing to do. The PGA Tour and the Royal and Ancient are working together to roll back the tech of the equipment, right? Because when you combine the amount of technology that has been put into golf clubs, when you combine the amount of technology that has been put into golf balls, into shoes, into gloves. I mean, these guys are loaded with tech that, and then you combine the fact that athletes are bigger, stronger, faster, even on the golf course than they ever have been before. And you're getting to a point where I can't understand the game that they are playing. I can enjoy it. I can get it, but I can't really place myself in their shoes because there's no par 5 in the world that I'm going out there bombing a drive. Like, there are some par 5s in the area that I can hit a drive, and then if I really get a grip on the golf ball with the 3-wood, maybe I can bounce it on into. But these guys are hitting drives, and then they're going 7-iron, 6-iron into the green to get on into more often than they're not. The LPGA Tour is not. The LPGA Tour, when they play a par 5, it's a green and regulation hole. They are having to play great golf to get on in 3, to have a birdie putt. They make a mistake, the best they're doing is putting for par. It is a level of golf that I, as an amateur, not great golfer, it's a game of golf I understand. It's a game of golf I could put myself into their shoes and get it. I have the last couple of weeks paid more attention to the LPGA Tour than I ever had in my life. Now, there's the other angle of this as far as the PGA Tour goes. Rory McIlroy is not going to jump back on the policy board. He says it's because of pushback from the players. I don't agree. I'll tell you why I think Rory McIlroy is not doing as much as he can with the PGA Tour. It is because Jay Monahan stabbed him in the back. I've talked about this on the show before. Rory McIlroy was the flag carrier for the PGA Tour when the LIV Tour got going. He was the one that was out there attacking the LIV Tour, criticizing the LIV Tour, talking about how the LIV Tour was bad for golf. And the PGA Tour was propping him up on every damn pedestal they could to get that message out there. And then out of the blue, last year, here comes PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan, who says, "Oh, we're gonna join forces with the LIV Tour. We're negotiating with the LIV Tour about creating one tour, about allowing them to invest in the PGA Tour and participate." And here's Rory standing out there, butt naked on top of a hill that he thought he was dying to defend, and the people he was defending it on their behalf just went and joined the bad guys. I don't think Rory I don't think he has any interest in being a leader anymore. Why would you? What am I supposed to do? Go out there, fight a battle, and then get left behind again? Absolutely not. And it's created this world. And again, I still blame the LIV Tour, but it has created this world where the PGA Tour seems gutless. It seems spineless. And it's just a tough spot. It is. This is why I have been saying for a while, if the PGA Tour does not make a stand for itself, we are going to get Saudi Arabian run golf. That's it. I understand the fear because, as I have mentioned, the Saudi Investment Fund, the Public Investment Fund, the PIF, is playing life with the unlimited money cheat code turned on. Those of y'all that played video games growing up, you know how after you played a game for a long time and maybe you beat it, maybe you didn't, maybe you just got bored of it. You remember how back when we all had the, was it Game Genie? Remember Game Genie or Game Shark back in the day? You could pop your Game Shark on and you could turn it to where it would wire the game to give you infinite money. And then you would just go buy all the coolest stuff in the game and entertain yourself. That's the Public Investment Fund. It's got the unlimited money glitch turned on. And it scares you if you're the PGA Tour, because what's the thing that does you win? It's not lack of publicity. It's not lack of purse. It's not lack of events. What's going to kill you is if the Public Investment Fund starts offering $1 billion to everybody that's on the PGA Tour to come over. And they could. They could. There's a lot of names that right now in the world of golf are rumored to be thinking about moving over to the LIV Tour right now. Names that have spoken out against the LIV Tour. But I've told you, I wouldn't even fault the players. I am anti-LIV Tour. I am anti-PIF. I am anti-Saudi Arabia. I'm anti all of these things. But if they called me tomorrow and said, we want to give you $1 million a year to come be our color guy, I've got to go. Because that money would change my family's life for the better. I got to take it. So I understand why guys would leave the PGA Tour even after criticizing the PIF to go play LIV Golf. The fear if you're the PGA Tour is if LIV Tour just starts buying every time a PGA player makes a mark, they just start buying those guys, then the LIV Tour gets the attention. I'm not worried about it right now. They're playing on the CW. With all due respect to the CW, it's not exactly a golf bastion right now. So there is fear from the PGA Tour. And the problem is they are acting as if they are fearful. And it's just that there's so much drama around it right now that it is making the product outside of Augusta. They're playing the PGA Championship this weekend. I have not talked about it at all. I have not gotten to one of the biggest events on the tour that is going on right now in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's right up the road. Wells Fargo Championship, right up the road. PGA Championships in a couple of weeks. We're not even talking about events that are here in our backyard or that are one of the 4 biggest on the calendar, because the only thing we can talk about is LIV and PGA and Saudi Public Investment Fund. That's bad for golf at its core. But Texter, to answer your question, get into it. It's great. Go enjoy the Pro-Am. I will see you out there. It's one of my favorite events. I won't miss it. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Game Genie is a throwback. I don't think I've said the words Game Genie in decades.
Couldn't really afford a Game Genie, so. Do you remember game guides that you could buy, though? Those were
like the magazine style?
Yeah. Lots of cool pictures and secrets and all that kind of stuff. Cameron just sent these pictures. I don't know what it is. He's doing side projects with
Is it a magnet? Nope, it's not.
they're making 3D printing stuff. So I don't know what they're printing exactly.
One of Courtney's friends that just moved back here from Arizona is a member of the 501st Legion,
Mm-hmm.
and told us, he came to our master's party a couple weeks ago, told me that one day during the summer, when I catch a break, to come to his house. And I was like, oh, I will. I want to see your armor. He goes, oh, no, I'll make you a set. I 3D print. I'll make you a set of Stormtrooper armor. I was like, yeah, we're doing that.
That costs a couple $1,000s. So
not if you have a 3D printer.
You suck.
He's like, I'll just make you a set of Stormtrooper armor. I was like, I will let you.
Why do you know? So you want Stormtrooper or you want Mandalorian?
Oh, I want Stormtrooper armor.
I want Mandalorian because although there's no way I saw that really at one of the Comic Cons, one of the South Carolina Comic Cons, a dude showed up and was the big Mandalorian from the Mandalorian. But this dude was like 6'5", 6'6", and he just pulled it off. The big bulky one, even though he got his butt kicked.
Yep.
I'm too bulky to be a Stormtrooper, but I could pull off a Mandalorian for sure. I'd have to have some fur up in there, and it would look really cool. Did you see the video that Odie and I did with the 501st last week? It's basically a reel. I'll show it to you after the show. He reached some Rob Brown heights with his volume inside the place, and people weren't expecting it. I could hear people just kind of doing this behind me and getting quiet. It was great. This sounds like Friday to me, you know?
It does. I'm digging it.
It's Friday. We're almost done.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. The Fan Upstate, Rob Alonso with you.
I have a question for you, Rob.
I have an answer for you.
Okay. Does the weekend start when your work day is over?
Yeah.
Or do you have to go home and get cleaned up and stuff first?
Ordinarily does, obviously not for me tonight, because this evening I will be calling the Greenville Liberty opening home match. They are at home this evening to open the season at Paladin Stadium, 7 p.m. tonight. Julie Carlson, kind enough to join us on the show yesterday to walk us through the beginning of the season for the pre-professional league. That is the USLW League season. Big fan of Julie, big fan of the Liberty. So I'll be on their play-by-play duties tonight. Then, of course, tomorrow, Bet for the Cycle with myself and Cody Decker on the air from noon to 4 on the BetQL Network and the Odyssey app. Grab it. Enjoy a little baseball and all the other sports, too. We still do talk all the sports since we're a year-round show now. And then what do we got? We got Triumph game tomorrow, and I will be doing some work for the Triumph tomorrow night at their game. So my weekend, this weekend, great one, starts Sunday morning whenever I wake up, which is going to be late. And that is if I don't decide, and I haven't ruled this out, because the single most disappointing thing about me since I moved here is I have not gone to a race at Darlington yet. And the NASCAR fellas are spinning circles in Darlington this weekend. The lady friend has given me permission to leave early in the morning and drive over to Darlington to go to the NASCAR race. But Sunday's Mother's Day. Sunday is Mother's Day. And obviously there's two mothers in her life. And so my question is, since she's now at work and not listening, and I don't think either of them, am I great one? Am I if I drive to Darlington and go watch a race this weekend instead of go celebrate Mother's Day? My mom's in Ireland. So, am I a jerk if I go to Darlington for the race?
Sensitive information here, but how's your relationship with the mother and
Great.
future mother-in-law?
They both love me. They both love me. They're both fans. I had to win them over. It was, I will tell, in all honesty, it was a tough sell. They were not fans out front. There are some things about me philosophically that they don't particularly love, let's say.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. There are some things philosophically about me that they don't, or they didn't particularly love, but they've also come around to realize that I'm a super, super nice guy and I treat the fiance as well as possible.
Except on Mother's Day when you're deciding that you're just going to go somewhere else.
Say I'm a jerk then, man.
I think I just did.
You did, but just say it that way. You got to do it like that.
because it was entertaining and it's radio and that's what we're supposed to do. I don't think I would go. I don't think I would.
For the record, I did not bring it up.
My Admiral Akbar, I've misplaced, but it's a trap.
It's a trap. I did, for the record, I did not bring it up. I didn't bring it up. Here's the thing that is kind of tough because I like getting to Darlington. Darlington's one of the most iconic tracks on the circuit, right? And I have not gotten to go yet.
And then if you keep driving just a little bit further, you'd be at the ocean.
And yeah.
Just saying. I mean, you'd be closer to the ocean than you are now.
You're not wrong. So here is the issue that I have. Because I go every year to the Roval. It's one of my favorite things to do. I go every year to the 600. I love the 600. I have not gone to the new track at Atlanta. It's on the list to get there. I've done Talladega. I've done Daytona. Like I've done a lot of the great tracks. I have not gone to Darlington. I want to go to Darlington. This is just bad luck for me, Great One, because the spring Darlington race is Mother's Day weekend, and the fall Darlington race every year falls on the fiance's birthday weekend. So I damn sure can't miss that, right? Hey, babe, love you. See you next week when I come back from Darlington.
Well, there's the Mother's Day thing. She's not a mother, so you could.
She is not.
Yeah, so you could get by with that.
I think
and
so.
also say that she should get to spend quality time with her mom without you being there.
Being loud and obnoxious.
Yeah. They can have a quiet country Sunday.
Yeah.
But her birthday, you can't miss that.
No, cannot skip the birthday. Now, there are two added elements to this conversation. I didn't know you guys were going to be playing for therapists for me here, but here we are. Two separate conversations.
It's not the first time we've done that.
No, it's really not. It's not the first. It might not be the first time today. About this weekend, I did not bring up Darlington. I didn't bring it up. I said nothing about it. In fact, like I planned other stuff this weekend around the weekend because I wasn't going to go to Darlington. She came to me Wednesday and she goes, "Are you going to the race on Sunday?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Oh, I thought you wanted to go." And I said, "Oh, I do want to go." I said, "But it's Mother's Day weekend." And she said, "It's fine. It's fine. They love you. It's fine." And I'm like,
all right.
It's fine is the worst thing you can say. It's fine when you're talking to your significant other means it's not fine.
Okay, was eye contact being made when the fine was uttered? And if so, did you observe facial expressions, tone, length of fine? There's I mean, fine could be just fine or it could be that fine. And if it's that fine, then you just need to skip the race.
Keegan said, "Nope, it's a trap." That's the thing.
Yeah, because you didn't mention the word fine in there. That's a totally different story.
The thing is when she said it's fine, it seemed like she was being genuine about the it's fine. It really did. And I will say that one of the aspects about our relationship is that we are both people that are totally cool with, yeah, I really don't care if you go to the thing and I don't want to. So have fun, right? I go to concerts by myself that she's not interested in all the time. She goes thrifting on Sundays when I don't want to because football's on or whatever. We don't have any problem going and doing things aside from each other and saying, yeah, it's fine. Go do that thing. I don't care is pretty normal for us. But this one, I can't tell. It almost feels like it's a test, right? And this is the last Mother's Day before we are married. So I don't know if that changes anything. Like, I don't know.
What did you do last year at this time?
Oh, we spent Mother's Day with both of them last year. We did one mom in the morning, one mom in the evening. So we did like a brunch and then we did like a dinner.
I was hoping it was split, and this would have been the time that you would have spent with your mom, and then you wouldn't have been able to do it because your mom's in Ireland, and then you would have had that excuse.
No, wouldn't it? Because then if it is a problem, it'd have been your mom's in Ireland, so you can just
but you talked to your mom, and your mom said, I can't be with you. Why don't you go to the race?
Listen, Lonzo trying to convince me to lie in my relationship. Unbelievable. I thought you were above that.
No.
I thought you were above that.
No, I mean, if you talk to your mom, she probably would have said that to you.
James says, YOLO. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I'm living if I go. I'm just kind of rolling the dice that it's not a trap and she's being sincere. Keegan said, wait till you get her locked in.
Let me use a Rob Brown thing here. If you had to bet a paycheck on this, texters at 71307 or streamers, he ain't going, right?
Yeah, probably not. I wouldn't bet on it. I won't bet on it. But again, I don't know. James says, worst case, this is a future Faces and Heels segment. We're bringing that back next week. I miss it. And it's
You kind of promoted it and then we didn't do it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We got caught up. There was a lot going on last Tuesday. I don't know, man. Like the fact that she came to me, I did not bring it up. I wasn't like, hey, you think it's okay if I go to Darlington Sunday? You think would it bother you if I go to, or you can tell me if you would be mad.
So you didn't,
she just came to me. I never said
you didn't say anything to any of your friends that might have
Not a
worked their way back to, I don't
Not
you
a
know.
word. I said nothing about Darlington to anybody this year. I said nothing about it because I looked at the calendar. I'm like, it's Mother's Day again. I'm not going, right? Said nothing about it. And then she said to me, are you going to the race? And I was like, what race? She said, Darlington. I know you've been saying since you moved here that you wanted to go to Darlington. Are you interested in going? And I was like, I mean, yeah, I'm interested, but it's Mother's Day. And she went, it's fine.
How did she know there was a race at Darlington?
Her stepdad is big into racing.
Okay.
So I'm sure he probably asked.
All right.
Now, the question mark is, I just thought of this. Oh, this might be devious. Question mark. Do I buy 2 tickets, invite the stepdad and be like, I want you and your stepmom or you and your mom to have some QT time together. So I'm going to take stepdad to a race and we're going to let y'all be girls. And then like give him a spa treatment or something, like buy him, like get him something to do.
I'd run that by him first.
No, I'm just be like, dog, I'm picking you up. Get in the truck. Let's go. We got race tickets.
Is that how that relationship works?
It would for race tickets.
Okay. All right.
He likes me too. He likes me too. We're good. Marriage changes everything. I'm still not adjusted after a year. Good luck. Ha ha. That ha ha on the end's kind of doing a lot of work here. It's a little scary. Texter said, take the moms to the race. Good to go. I mean, I absolutely would if there was a small percentage of me, I thought they'd say yes. I'd absolutely offer it. Texter says, your mom is in Ireland. You've got permission. Go to Darlington and live your best life. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking in my head.
Is that Texter pretending to be your mom? Because that's what it sounded like.
I'm thinking in my head the fact that she came to me and said, I'm good if you go without me bringing it up or mentioning it gives me like a little like, yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call. I'm good with that.
Wesley says, don't worry, Rob. She'll tell you she didn't want you to go in 4 years. I never wanted you to go to that.
Keegan said, these people are not your friends, Robert. Yeah. All right, here's one for us on the way out. So Texture said, how old is too old to train to be a professional wrestler, even if it's just for a local indie?
Diamond Dallas Page started in his 40s, didn't he? So I don't know if you're relatively in good shape.
I think it's more about being in good shape and being able to move is it, right? Like you've got to be able to run. If you can't run, you can't wrestle. If you can't run, if you can't hit the ropes back and forth, you can't wrestle. If you can't,
unless you have that gimmick where if you're like 7 foot tall
and you can't teach that,
right? Go ahead and do it.
Even still, like Undertaker hits the ropes, Big Bill hits the ropes.
They both did and do. Big Bill looks extremely slow.
He does, but he's freaking jacked.
He is.
He's jacked.
Under the tutelage of the learning tree now. So how far will he go?
I would say stop inserting yourself into everything, Jericho. Stop. All right. I am going to go with I would say I probably would not start after 40, but maybe that's just because I'm about to turn 40. I would not start after 40 or if you sneeze and pull a back muscle, which has happened to me.
Yeah, if you go to sleep and you wake up and you slept wrong, probably not a good move.
Yeah.
And now the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
I just made myself sad.
It's all right. We're almost done, so you can go
cry in a corner.
Sulk. I'll just keep my back turned so I won't see it. I'll try not to listen to the sobbing. All right. The first thing that's Xing is Stipe Miocic.
I think I saw this. If I recall correctly, they were setting up John Jones because we all care for his next fight. And they had him. I don't remember who the initial opponent that was proposed was. And he basically said, yo, that guy, I want Stipe.
Yeah, there actually is an interim champ, and that's the guy he was talking about. And I don't remember his name on purpose. On purpose, because that's not the fight anyone wants to see.
Can I just say that if you'd have given me John Jones and Stipe Miocic in like 2016, I would have bought that fight. I don't know that I'm buying it now.
All right. Well, Stipe is Xing because he says he doesn't care about the belt. He just wants to fight John Jones. I'm sure he'll take the belt if he beats him and the money that comes with it.
Yeah, is that a shooter or work, though? Is that to sell tickets, or is that because he genuinely wants to cave in John Jones' face?
Who doesn't? And it's the fight now has been moved from July to supposedly November, which they talked about anyway, being in that place that we talked about earlier.
Yep, Saudi Arabia.
No, MSG.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
In MSG.
Yeah.
You remember earlier this week I was talking about Joel Embiid and how I don't think I've ever really like throttled back on an athlete quite as quickly as I did on Joel Embiid. Like I was a huge fan, and then one day I'm like, oh, he's kind of a petulant ass. Maybe I'm out on Joel Embiid. John Jones is in that group too. There was a point in the early portion of John Jones' career where I would have paid to watch every fight that guy got in. He was a prodigy. He was the future. And then it turned out he was an idiot.
So you're with me in certified hater mode when it comes to John Jones.
Certified hater mode.
There we go. I mean, the next thing that's Xing, speaking of certified hater mode, Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly. This one is kind of interesting. A couple of former Eagles from when Chip Kelly was the head coach there. And these are not the first two to do this, but a couple of former Eagles from when Chip was the coach there said a part of the reason that Chip Kelly was let go is because during his time in Philly, he was, quote, and Deshaun Jackson, I think, was one of the guys that said this, said that Chip Kelly was uncomfortable around black players, said that Chip Kelly would frequently skip out on conversations, would not individually coach them, etc., that he was uncomfortable around black players. And now it started this real weird conversation about Chip Kelly's departure from Philly.
Yeah.
LaShawn, here you go. Here's a quote. LaShawn McCoy said Chip Kelly forced Eagles cornerback Rock Carmichael to cut his hair and told him, I want you to be more presentable. I want you to cut your hair, get a haircut like LaShawn. McCoy said that was a, quote, prime example, end quote, of Chip Kelly being uncomfortable around black players.
Well, I would wonder, did he do the same thing to any white players who had long hair? I mean, I'm not defending them. I'm just curious. For consistency's sake.
The fact that you told him, I want you to look like another black player that I'm more comfortable with, as opposed to, I want you to just look more presentable. That's where you lose
if
it.
the boss came in and said, Lonzo, I want you to cut your hair. I need you to look more like Rob.
Right, but you understand, you're not black and he's not comparing you to another black guy. That's where this is.
You're right. I am white and he's comparing me to another white guy. I don't know. I'm not saying that it isn't what it is.
It's just going to be a weird
I just hope it's not. All right. Last thing as we leave, Damian Priest in studio Monday.
He is trending because he's going to be in studio on Monday. Damian Priest, WWE champion, will be here Monday as of right now, scheduled for 8:40 a.m. We will update you if that changes, but Damian Priest will be here on Monday morning as Monday Night Raw is here is in town next Monday. Hey, speaking of next Monday, that's when we're back. Next Monday. To do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Have a great weekend. See you back here then. This is the Fan Upstate later. Yeah! Noted Philly fan self-censored himself in the chat.
How long ago was it when Chip Kelly coached in Philly?
A number of years.
Yeah, it just, why bring it up now? Why not do it right after he was let go? It looks like you're trying to get attention. That's all I'm saying. If he
left
did
the Eagles in 2015.
So that was 9 years ago. So if this was such a big deal, why didn't they talk about it right after?
I don't begrudge people for the timeline they tell their story because you never know what the reason is for their timeline. But that's just me.
And doctors had told him that surgery was the
Anyway,
By the way, I'm not defending Chip Kelly. I'm not. I'm just curious as he responded and what does his response is.
I've not seen it yet, but I would also tell you he probably will not. There's really nothing.
Because there's no gain,
There's no
but
gain here.
but at the same time, his reputation is being, you know,
I mean, it's a hit too.
we never heard any of this when he was at Notre Dame, and we haven't heard of this when he was at his last stint. And does this hurt him where he is now? And yes, I know where he is now.
I mean, to me, the fact that he bailed out to go be an OC and take a demotion and a pay cut is kind of interesting, but I don't know.
Oh, I'm buying his explanation on that because even you have agreed it would be harder to be a head coach right now.
Oh, for sure.
Than it ever has
also
been.
pays a lot
So,
more.
yeah.
All right, dudes and dudettes, I'm out. See you guys at soccer this weekend.
I'm also out, just because, we
Lights out, we out.
we are done.
Lights out, we out.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
All right, you guys have a stellar weekend. Don't get in trouble, or do. I don't care. Live your best life.
That's not living your best life if you get in trouble.
Might be.
No.
Sometimes people have fun being in trouble.
No.
Don't tell me how to live my life. See you Monday. Bye.
It's going to